today. But there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Not one person wearing a mask behind him. Oh, wait. There are 3, 4, 5. Okay, there are some people over here.
Hello, Georgia. It is wonderful to be here with you tonight. Thank you for coming out and supporting us. President Trump
Mask
continues
on,
to fight for
nose
you
out.
every single day. Do not let your voices be silenced. We must keep our seats in the Senate. It is more important than ever that you exercise your right as an American citizen and vote.
Oh, wait, Bruvo, why does socialism scare you? Maybe I can make it less scary for you, friend. I am a socialist. Hello, I'm a market socialist. So true. So have you seen the men and women who are socialists in this country? Incredibly sexy. I'm going to be watching most of it. If it bores me, I'm going to turn it off, okay? Socialism is freedom in your workplace as well as in your politics, okay, friend? Don't let it scare you.
Leadership, our borders are safer. Global terrorists.
Psh, market socialism isn't capitalism, my dude. Markets have existed all throughout human history, and are by no means limited to just capitalism. You know, embracing markets as a part of our cornerstone for our society is not necessarily a bad thing. Is Sweden socialist? No. Sweden has some socialist policies, but that doesn't make it a socialist country.
Have been destroyed, and historic peace deals in the Middle East have been made.
It also has more economic mobility.
Our nation is respected again, and our allies are now doing their fair share.
Hey, Bruvo, I'm also part Swedish. I'm like 75% Swedish. Congrats on being rad.
Globally. President Trump has brought jobs back to the American people. And opportunities for women have expanded in our workforce. Our economy has soared and unemployment has shrunk.
What? Fucking what? Have you seen our economy right now? Have you seen our unemployment numbers? Fucking lol.
When a global pandemic hit the United States last January, my husband...
You're not part Swedish. Can you still be socialist? I'll consider you for honorary membership, friend. But I have French, English, Scottish, Dutch, and Swede. I mean, that's okay. Please come to Japan and ask people if America is more respected. Oh, I think I know the answer to that one. Some of the most famous socialists are African American. True! Do you think that Martin Luther King Jr. was based and good? He was also a socialist.
Put the American peoples first. And now, under this administration...
Do you think Einstein was smart?
And because of our amazing medical
He was a socialist too.
And resources, we are closer than ever to vaccinate that will save millions of lives. Let your voices be heard, Georgia.
That some Nambian dude was like Hitler or something. I mean, there are definitely fascists all over the world, you friend. We gotta be on guard. We gotta be on guard for those people. Like he was elected. Well, yeah, fascists can be elected. This happens. This happens a lot.
Get out and vote for Senator Loeffler and Senator Perdue. Thank you and God bless you and your families. It is now my pleasure to welcome the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
They can't even kiss on the lips. They like just a cheek kiss.
Thank you. A very popular First Lady, I have to say. Thank you very much, and thank you, Melania. And I want to say hello, Georgia. We did.
Wait, did she walk off the wrong side of the stage? Oh, that's kind of awkward. I do like her jacket, though. This is something I would wear if I had, like, the body for it, you know?
A great job. You know, we won Georgia, just so you understand. And we won Florida. And we won a lot of places. Thank you.
Really? Where's the evidence of that in court, Donald Trump? So far, I think you've lost, like, something like 37 of your court cases?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Aw, thanks, guys. I worry that I'm kind of like I still need to develop some more curves, you know. But once I get them, I'll wear something like that. Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. He's only won 1 out of 48 cases. I apologize.
We won a lot of places. We won Florida. We won Ohio. Big. We won them big. Remember, we were going to lose Florida, they said. We were 5 down in Florida. We won by a lot.
Okay, I've never listened to him at 1.5 speed. This is... I feel like this should hammer home just how stupid he is when he's talking fast, okay? Let's keep going.
We were way down in Ohio, and we won by a lot. I think they say that if you win Florida and if you win Ohio, in history, you've never lost an election. This has got to be our first time. But the truth is, they were right. We've never lost an election. We're winning this election. And I will say we're fighting very hard for this state. When you look at all of the corruption and all of the problems having to do with this election, all I can do is campaign, and then I wait for the numbers. But when the numbers come out of ceilings and come out of leather bags, you start to say, what's going on? But I want to just tell you that I love this state. I love the people in this state, and I'm thrilled to be back.
Out of ceilings? What does that even mean? Also, we went over this on Friday, but they're not they didn't have bags or cases full of illegal ballots. That's been debunked.
Back in magnificent Georgia with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. Let me begin by wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Remember the word? Remember? We started 5 years ago, and I said, you're going to be saying Christmas again, and we say it proudly again, although they'll be trying to take that word again out of the vocabulary. We're not going to let them do that. I also want to express our profound condolences to the family of Harrison Deal, a young and brilliant campaign staffer for Senator Loeffler, who tragically died in a terrible car accident yesterday. You know about it. He was an incredible, magnificent young man, and I just want to say our prayers are with his friends and loved ones, and we will keep his memory in our hearts. And he's looking down right now, and he's very proud of Kelly and David. He's very proud of all of us, so I just want to express my best wishes, okay, to the family and everybody. Thank you, Kelly. And let me...
Mfinity, why is Happy Holidays triggering your conservative friends?
We also express our warmest best wishes and love to all of those people and families suffering from the COVID pandemic. Vaccines are on their way at a level that nobody ever thought possible. It would have taken another administration 5 years. It took...
Yeah, they're sending these at a level never before thought possible. Yeah, never before thought possible. You know, it's just a historic amount. It just, you know, all of the vaccine that is being distributed, it you know, it's as much as humanly possible, except that they refused to buy all of the vaccine that they could. And Trump's administration explicitly told them, no, we're good, everybody. It's, you know, we're fine. We don't need more of the vaccine for what's killing our people. You know, Trump administration officials passed when Pfizer offered in late summer to sell the U.S. government additional doses of its COVID-19 vaccine, according to people familiar with the matter. Now, Pfizer may not be able to provide more of its vaccine to the United States until next June because of its commitments to other countries, they said. As the administration scrambles to try and purchase more doses of the vaccine, Donald Trump plans on Tuesday to sign an executive order to ensure the United States government prioritizes getting the vaccine to Americans before sending it to other nations, according to a draft statement by a White House official, though it was not immediately clear what force the president's executive order would carry. because, you know, we're good on the vaccine, apparently. Bruvo, thank you very much for hitting the follow button. I hope you do come back. I hope you enjoyed your time in the community. Let's see. The vaccine being produced by Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech is a 2-dose treatment, meaning the 100 million doses is enough to vaccinate only 50 million Americans. The vaccine is expected to receive authorization for emergency use in the U.S. as soon as this weekend, with another vaccine developed by Moderna also likely to be approved for emergency use soon. Yeah. So we'll go through the story in a bit more depth. Well, actually, we can finish it right now. Let's see. On November 11th, 2 days after Pfizer first announced early results indicating that its vaccine was more than 90% effective, the European Union announced that it had finalized a supply deal with Pfizer and BioNTech for 200 million doses, a deal they began negotiating in months earlier. Shipments could begin by the end of the year, and the contract includes an option for 100 million more doses. So, just so we're clear, we could have gotten hundreds of millions of more doses than we actually got. We just really passed up that opportunity for reasons. Asked if the Trump administration had missed a crucial chance over the summer to snap up more doses for Americans, spokeswoman for the Department of Health and Human Services said, "We are confident we will have 100 million doses of Pfizer vaccine as agreed to in our contract, and beyond that we will have 5 other vaccine candidates." Super cool. Yeah, the Republicans want you to be free as soon as they've thrown enough of you in the wood chipper. Anyway, let's keep going.
We got 7 months, and they're starting next week, and we're going to start vaccinating, and a lot of people already are vaccinated. It's called you caught it, and you're immune. I hope it's true.
No, fuck. Almost 300,000 people have died. And also, on top of that, no. Part of the reason we need a vaccine, and part of the reason our Department of Health is telling you that even if you've had it, you should probably get vaccinated again, is because we're not sure at the rate of, like, immunity creation, or the length of immunity after you've had it. So, this is not true. If you've caught it and you no longer have it, you are not actually immune.
You know, they say that before I had it, they said if you catch it, you're immune for life. Once I got it, they said if you catch it, you're immune for 4 months, right? You know? But they're on their way.
Again, the entire universe, I guess, revolves around this man.
Vaccines, and they're great vaccines and safe and brilliant, actually, to think of it, what we've done in such a short period of time. Nobody thought. They call it, even some of the enemies call it a medical miracle, what we've done. And we also have great therapeutics, and they're already here. And I can testify to that fact. I'll tell you what, some incredible work has been done over the last 7 months. And we should always get credit for that. Don't let anyone ever take it away from us. We're gathered here tonight to ensure, a very important word, ensure, because these are 2 great people that I know so well and respected by everybody in Washington and beyond, that David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler win the most important congressional runoff probably in American history. I really believe that. I think it's in American. There's never been a time like this where you have 2 at one time. At least you have 2 beauties. And you know what? You also have 2 beauties running against them, but beauty in a different way. They have 2 beauties. But there's never been a case where a state has had this prominence on the Senate races, because they're never together. And this is something that's very important, and you have to get out, and you have to vote. You have to make sure you have every vote counted. Every vote has to count. You got to make sure they don't throw away any ballots. You got to make sure that when they collect the ballots and they start bragging about how many ballots they already have.
This motherfucker had the state recounted 3 times, and he's lost every single one of these recounts.
You got to make sure your Secretary of State knows what the hell he's doing. And you got to make sure your governor gets a lot tougher than he's been. He's got to get a lot tougher. Because at stake in this election is control of the U.S. Senate, and that really means control of this country. The voters of Georgia will determine which party runs every committee, writes every piece of legislation, controls every single taxpayer dollar. Very simply, you will decide whether your children will grow up in a socialist country or whether they will grow up in a free country.
Fuck yeah. Gosh, I wish Democrats were as cool as they consistently say Democrats are. Like, the Republican Party just makes Democrats look so fucking cool. I wish that was actually what was on the ballot, instead of either, like, deadlock in the Senate or, the possibility of maybe getting some marginal improvements to society. I wish it was like actually what he's saying it is.
And I will tell you this, socialist is just the beginning for these people. These people want to go further than socialism. They want to go into a communistic form of government, and I have
No, I'm a market socialist, dude. I'm open to good arguments for communism once we achieve market socialism, but we're a long way from that, you know? He knows there's a difference. I don't think he knows I don't think he knows what the difference is. I don't think he could articulate it, okay?
no doubt about it. Somehow that doesn't suit
Right,
Georgia
Daniel?
too well. That doesn't work too well, I think Kelly and Georgia does it, huh? David and Kelly are running against radical John Ossoff and Raphael
I'm
Warnock.
gonna be watching that debate, by the way, tonight.
Ossoff and Warnock are the two most extreme, far-left, liberal Senate candidates in the history of our country. And you got to vote the one time.
What? No. We've had actual communists run for Senate before. You know that, right, Donald Trump?
How did that happen? I think you both got lucky, but we'll see, right? We'll see. You must go vote, and vote early, starting December 14th. You have to do it. They cheated and they rigged our presidential election, but we will still win it. We will still win it. We'll still win it. And they're going to try and rig this election, too. No, we continue to fight. We've had some great moments.
Next
We
step,
just need
super communism.
somebody with courage
Exactly.
to do what they have to do, because everyone knows it's wrong. We need some.
Whoa, what? Wait a minute. I'm gonna slow this down.
No, we continue to fight. We've had some great moments. We just need somebody with courage to do what they have to do, because
Now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here and say that he's going to go on to talk about like how Kelly Loeffler has the courage to do what needs to be done. But if he doesn't do that, this is an incredibly disturbing thing to say.
everyone knows it's wrong. We need somebody with courage, somebody that makes decisions. And we'll be going up to the Supreme Court very shortly, and we really, if we have... If we have courage and wisdom, I think you know what the answer is going to be, because you can't let people get away with what they got away with. Think of it, with over 74 million votes, think of that, more than...
He's not. He didn't clarify. He didn't say like that he was talking about like going into the Senate. I thought that's where he was going with that. He just said we need courage. We need someone with the courage to do something about this because they can't get away with what they've done. This is like, guys, unironically, no joke. This is like a call to arms. It's a fascist call to arms. And yeah, it's not directly grab your guns and go hunting for Democrats yet, but we're really towing this line, okay?
I got more votes than any sitting president in history.
That's us playing a game from the Jackbox Party Pack 7.
I drew pizza.
History, 11 million more votes than we got in 2016. And we thought that if we could get 68 million, 67 million, that would be the end. All of our great, brilliant geniuses said, you'd win. If you get 67 or 68, it's over. We got 74 million plus, and they're trying to convince us that we lost. We didn't lose. They found a lot of ballots, to be nice about it.
Because you were running against someone else who got more votes, dingus. It's not that hard to figure out.
Got rid of some, too. The 74, let me tell you, the 74 could have been even...
Well, then, Derby Yank, all of his votes were real. All of Joe Biden's votes were fake. Conveniently, though, all of the fake votes were cast in states that Donald Trump needs to win in order to, win the presidency.
As the great pollster, John McLaughlin, who's really a great pollster, one of the most highly respected, He said there's no way this could have happened other than the obvious cheating or a rigged election. There's no way it could have happened. You know, it's interesting. I wrote this out, and I had just a few of the facts, which I think, because I want to get onto the presidentials. I want to stay on presidential, but I got to get to these two because they're incredible. But listen to this. These are the facts, and each fact is like irrefutable, and it means win. President Trump received, done by one of the most brilliant political people, President Trump received more votes than any previous incumbent president in history, and we lost. And we lost. So we received more votes than anybody in history. And
Wait. I'm trying to figure out who... Wait, John McLaughlin. There are a couple different John McLaughlins in politics. The one that I'm finding, though, has, like, a very small base of followers and is essentially just, like, known as being a Sean Hannity guest. So, you know, we know where he's getting his information here.
any incumbent in history, we lost, supposedly. We didn't lose. You're going to see that. No incumbent who received 75% of the total primary vote lost re-election in the history of our country. President Trump received 94%, not 75, 94.
You know,
Which is one of the highest in
just
history.
lost one.
In fact, President Trump
he's
is
lost
the
39
only one
out
of
of
5
48.
incumbents since 1912 to receive more than
wait.
90% of the primary vote.
Yeah,
And
39
again,
out of 40 cases.
Anybody received over 75%, they won. We got 94%. President Trump set a record for the most primary votes ever received by an incumbent, ever. And nobody that's received all of the primary votes, nobody's received at a much lesser level than what they always won. But we didn't, according to what they say. It's rigged. It's a fixed deal. Nationally, initial numbers show that 26% of President Trump's voting share came from non-white voters, the highest percentage for a GOP presidential candidate since 1960. That's a long time ago. President Trump won, think of this one, President Trump won 18 of 19 bellwether counties. You know what a bellwether county is? It's a big deal. So I won 18 of 19, a record, never happened, that between 1980 and 2016 voted for the eventual president in every single election, and before that it was almost every election, and we won a record. 18 of 19, never lost. Nobody's ever lost with anything like that. Biden did not demonstrate coattails for the down ballot races. Had no coattails. I'm shocked to hear that. In fact, he got 80 million votes, but when he made a Thanksgiving Day speech on the internet, they say he had less than 1,000 people. How do you have 80 million votes and you have 1,000 people? No, how do you have 80 million votes and you have less than 1,000 people?
Because you've been consistently saying that the pandemic isn't a real issue, and he's been saying that it is a real issue. This isn't, it's not hard to figure out. When one side predominantly believes that there is a deadly pandemic going around, because there is, yeah, not as many people turn up for massive rallies where they could get sick and either die themselves or infect their loved ones. As opposed to this rally where, like, who knows how many of these people are going to get sick, and who knows how many of these people are going to die. Yeah, look at all these masks. Yeah, indeed.
With Republicans maintaining control. So here's what happened. So Biden didn't demonstrate coattails down ballot races, but with Republicans maintaining control, first time this has ever happened.
Aw, well, Radical Maniac, I'm glad you really like this stream. I stream every weeknight at 8 o'clock Central until whatever the fuck I feel like. Usually around midnight. Sometimes I go 7 or 8 hours. It really depends. But I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, and thank you very much for the follow. I missed that notification earlier. Yeah, I hope you do come back. We'd love to see you. Okay.
Control of the Senate, winning all 27 toss-up races in the House. Kevin McCarthy, great job. Mitch, great job. Winning all 27 toss-up races in the House. Think of it. We didn't lose a seat in the House. Think of this. First time that anybody, I think in history, we didn't lose one seat. Normally you lose 2, 3, 5, and you replace. We lost nobody sitting in Congress. I worked hard in the House with Kevin McCarthy. Not losing a single legislative chamber and making big gains at the state level and holding on to the Senate. I mean, look at what's happened. We better hold on to the Senate, you two. And there's never been numbers like that where a president even came close to losing. But they say we lost. The only way is they stuffed the ballot boxes. President Trump won. President Trump won, as we said, both in Florida.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. It's gonna be like another hour of him just saying he was robbed.
Florida, and then Ohio, and by the way, won by a lot. Remember the fake polls where they said he's down by 4 in Florida, and won by a lot. He's down by 2 in Ohio, and we won. I think we got 8 or 9 or something. Up. No, but nobody's ever done that. Those two very powerful, big, important states. And the beauty is that we also won Georgia, and that was good. And we won South Carolina, and we won Iowa. Remember?
But how can he claim this when, like, he's literally lost Georgia 3 times now? If you're opening to answering right now, what do you get from this quote? I'll give you the context after. I don't believe we shall ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of the government. That is, we can't take it violently out of the hands of the government. All we can do is by some sly roundabout way introduce something that they can't stop. I'm not entirely sure what it means by I don't believe we shall ever have a good money again. I don't know what that means. Well, Radical Maniac, I'm glad your Twitch recommendations came through, you know? I'm kind of on the up and coming, you know? One day we're gonna be bigger than Hassan, okay? I'm here to hope pill the shit out of you and make you believe that you can make a difference, you know? That would be one interpretation. I guess if this is like an accurate quote, I think it's arguing for taking like the printing of money out of the hands of the government and privatizing it, but I don't think that would be good. That's my interpretation, I guess. I don't know.
Remember? We're not going to win in Iowa, they said. We're not going to win. I think the farmers like Trump a lot, right? Well, we won in Iowa by a lot. We won in Iowa by close to record numbers. I think I have the record. And we won all over the place. In many of these swing states, you know, it's a very interesting statistic. President Obama beat Biden all over the country, except in some of the swing states where Biden beat him badly. How does that work? And they say it's statistically impossible. He beat crooked Hillary. Think of this. He beat crooked Hillary in the swing states, but she beat him everywhere else. Let me tell you, this election was rigged, and we can't let it happen to 2 of the greatest, most respected people in Washington. We can't let it happen again. Can't let it happen. Can't let it happen. Your governor could stop it very easily if he knew what the hell he was doing. He could stop it very easily. Hundreds of thousands of illegal votes were cast in each state.
Geez, then it should be really easy to prove in court, which makes it weird. Why haven't you been able to prove it in court, Donald Trump? Respect. The context is semi-related to how the government could hurt people through monetary expansion, being unable to purchase basic things due to poor buying power. Yeah, I kind of figured that, but like, I think that it's a bit different. That I think in general that is a good take, except in our current circumstances in the United States. If this were a different country, like the UK that had its own currency, I think this would be a definite problem. However, I think in the United States, monetary policy is in a brave new world, so to speak. We're in a position right now where like we've literally printed like something like $20 trillion to get out of the last 2 economic downturns. We don't really know what that means anymore. We don't know what the ramifications of this are. So this is something I think that you know, someone far smarter than me in economics would have to answer. Oh yeah, Mfinity. That is indeed what he said. At least you don't scream that chat is stupid for hours every day like Hassan does. True, though I think Hassan might have a lot more stupid people in his chat. That's my spicy take. You know, he might have a lot more people saying stupid things to him.
Far from, I mean, you look at this, hundreds of thousands more than we needed were cast in every state we're talking about, not only here, but Michigan, Pennsylvania. How about Pennsylvania where they throw the poll watchers out? They threw them out. They literally threw them out. And they did it here too, by
Citation needed.
the way. But we caught them cold and have numerous cases pending, and so far we haven't been able to find the people with the courage to do the right thing.
In times like these.
and that is true in Georgia, certainly, but we're going to hit those people, and they're going to go down in history as great people. They're going to go down because everyone knows what took place. But we're going to talk about the presidential election a little bit later because...
I love that every step of the way through every claim that he's making is the underlying assumption that everyone knows it. There's just this massive conspiracy going on. That's not what's going on at all. There is no massive conspiracy here, because if there were, it would be relatively easy to prove.
We have a big senatorial race going on in Georgia, and we are watching Democrats very, very closely. And remember this, we had this massive race all over the country.
Hello,
so
pin
they could
seeker.
cheat in Georgia, and people aren't really watching it like they should. And, you know, again, all I can do is say, I'm running, win, and then do a good job as president. That's all. I don't run the elections. I don't run to see if people are walking in with suitcases and putting them under a table with a black robe around it. I don't do that.
Which has already been debunked by an investigation, by the way. They had people familiar with Georgia's elections watching that video. There's nothing fishy going on.
That's up to your government here. And for whatever reason, your Secretary of State and your governor are afraid of Stacey Abrams. They're afraid of her. So we know the Democrats are planning to cheat, and we can't let them do it again, and we're going to pull ours out.
I'm not super familiar with modern monetary theory. Could a government system be created using taxes, spending money into existence to subsidize basic housing, food, healthcare spending with variable prices related to financial position, like an EBT/debit card that changes how much is subsidized based on your position? No reason not to lean into the money machine, but better shore up buying power in the process. Yeah, I mean, like, part of the issue is that, A, I'm not super familiar with modern monetary theory, but B, I think that having variable prices is... that doesn't seem like it would be good to me. But maybe if I would have to look more into that. If Richard Wolff were to talk about that, I would be able to understand it better. I think he has a good way of being able to put complicated ideas into relatively simple terms. Yeah, I think the United States is in a unique position where we have for a very long time printed... You're on a debate later? No, I'm not. I'm not on a debate later. If the stream says that I'm on Prime Kai's panel, that was from Saturday. We had an emergency last-minute panel discussion. Yeah, today we're just talking about socialism, current events, and doing some call-ins maybe. So part of the issue, I think, in like printing so much money is that we're in uncharted territory where the economic consequences might not be readily apparent to us yet. But the more we do it, the deeper the hole we dig for ourselves if there is a negative consequence. So, my basic position, I guess, is that we should be extending the same grace, I guess, the same economic grace that we extend to massive corporations. We should be extending that to the people, because the people are fundamentally what create the wealth in this country, what generate the services in this country. And if we can't provide for them, then the country has failed on a extremely basic level. And yeah, I mean, providing houses for people allows them to get back into the workforce faster. Providing clean water reduces our medical costs. You know, providing electricity helps people. Electricity and internet helps them like enter into like the digital age of the workforce. Providing them with healthcare reduces the healthcare costs to our society. All of these things have a large amount of benefits that justify our investment into them, even without like modern monetary theory, like to back it up. I just think that we should be subsidizing people rather than companies. Because when we subsidize companies, there's a lot of evidence that indicates that they just do stock buybacks and increase the wealth, their own personal wealth. So that's my position there.
One way or the other, but we have to be vigilant because I don't want these two to work like I thought we were going to easily win. And that maybe for the first time in a long time, I go take a nice little vacation for about 2 days, and then we go back. And instead, I probably worked harder in the last 3 weeks than I've ever worked in my life doing this. And I've become friendly with legislators that I didn't know 4 weeks ago, and actually they're great people. In fact, in my pocket right here, we have a couple of them right in here. Where's Bert Jones? Where's Bert Jones? Bert, well, you're a young guy.
In fact, in my pocket right here, I have, when was this video? This was from this past weekend. It was his first rally since the election, I think. Yeah, it was 2 days ago, December 5th. Why would you think you were going to win easily when the polls suggested otherwise? The difference between the U.S. and other countries is that they don't control the prevailing reserve/safe haven currency. American monetary vehicles could probably underpin the expense of every country's energy transition. Maybe respect. That's possible. I'm willing to grant that. Definitely. It would just take a lot of cooperation with countries around the world. I'm not sure we're in a position to do that, you know?
I thought you were young, but not that young.
Oh, but I love that he's like, yeah, I became really good friends with all of the politicians here. In fact, I have a list of them, because I can't remember off the top of my head.
Bert Jones, I want to thank you, Bert, for being here. You're friendly with the man next to you, right, huh? He's a man of courage. Thank you very much, Bert. I appreciate everything you're doing, and so does this big crowd. And there's a lot of people. Also, Brandon Beach, Senator Brandon Beach. Brandon, thank you for everything. We appreciate it. William Liggins. William, where's William? Why are you so far away, William, from them? Oh, I like that group better, actually. I agree. And Greg Dozel. Where's Greg? Greg, thank you very much, Greg. We appreciate it. Really do. We appreciate it. Great people. And we said, have this brought back into your legislature, Governor. Have it brought back. Let these people make it. Keep it open, keep it transparent. And let us have a signature verification. What's wrong with that? They keep counting the same votes. I said,
Yeah. What's wrong with having a second election where you just redo the previous one? Yeah, what's wrong with that?
don't count votes. Look at the signature. You're going to find the signatures aren't what they were 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago. But our two great Senate opponents, and these are two people that fight, and they're going to fight like, I don't know if you know this, but one of the people that you're fighting, I went against him, Ossoff, 4 years ago. He was against a very fine woman, Karen, who was a great woman, and he was leading by quite a bit, and we ended up beating him. He didn't even live in the district. He was running for Congress. He didn't even live in the district. So we're going to have the same thing. But Ossoff and Warnock will be total pawns of Chuck Schumer, crying Chuck. I only see him cry when the cameras are on. But he did say this. Maybe I'm hurting you when I say he did say this. If we get in, we're going to absolutely make Donald Trump's life miserable. Can you believe that? That's Chuck Schumer. He made the statement. We're going to investigate him. Oh, those investigations will go on and on. Well, they've been investigating me since the day we came down on the escalator, which what turned out to be our great first lady. We came down the escalator, right? And they spied on our campaign and lots of other things. But Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the lunatic radical left. That's what you're going to have. As Chuck Schumer said rather infamously, first we take Georgia, then we take America. But they don't mean take America like in a good sense. They mean bring it over to things that the people of Georgia don't want. You're not going to like it when they want to take over your farm. Gee, we own this farm too. You know, we were here also. We own this farm. Here's exactly how they will change America forever. The radical Democrats, if they get power, they will immediately abolish the Senate filibuster, allowing them to pass any bill they want and giving them free rein to ram through the most extreme left-wing.
Here's, by the way, when people talk about signature verification, here's, just keep this in mind, okay? So, signed, sealed, delivered, then discarded. This is basically a piece from The Atlantic about, from October, basically about how accurate is signature matching. When we go down here, let's see. Yeah, a voter who has had her ballot rejected in the general election, especially in a tightly contested state such as Ohio, is likely to feel something closer to full-on rage. A political scientist at Carroll College, working on behalf of plaintiffs challenging Ohio's signature matching law, found that 97% of rejected signatures are likely to be authentic. Or for every invalid ballot caught via this measure, 32 valid ones are thrown out. So when we're talking about signature matching, it's one of these things that sounds good, but actually the cost of like picking this up basically throws out 32 valid ballots for every one invalid ballot. So is it worth it for us to pick a method that invalidates 32 out of every 33 ballots, or sorry, for every one illegal ballot that gets discounted, and I use illegal in air quotes, 32 valid ones get thrown out. Is it worth disenfranchising 32 people to count one, like to get rid of one illegal ballot? I would argue no. But this is what Republicans like to argue for, because the more people are disenfranchised, the more it helps their chances of winning. At least in the current state of elections in the United States.
Agenda ever conceived, while at the same time destroying our military through a lack of funding. And by the way, tell our senators, end Section 230. End Section 230. Put it in. We put it in. I want it in the defense bill. Put it in, because it's a national security problem. It's a big national security, so hopefully Mitch and the senators will put it in.
It's a big national security problem that people are being mean to me.
Who are vicious and violent and untruthful.
Hey Greg, Brett Favre here. Want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Word is you're working out. If so, nice job.
To bring big tech, it's the only thing they fear is that we're going to end Section 230. So hopefully we will do it. It happens to be a politically very popular thing to do, by the way.
Or you know what? You could break up the big tech companies. That's something you could do. You could, bring back that trust busting root of the Republican Party.
If these
Section 230 is basically what gives like companies like Google or Twitter or Facebook some degree of immunity. So like if somebody on their platform posts something that might be illegal, Twitter or Facebook aren't held liable for that. Instead, the individual person is. If they repealed 230, then Twitter and Facebook and Google would be responsible for literally all crimes that were connected to their services. And it would basically destroy the internet as we know it. And your perception of whether that's good or not really varies. Personally, I'm in favor of just breaking up big tech. I feel like that would be way more effective. But yeah,
people get control, their draconian military cuts will devastate Fort Benning, Fort Gordon, and the military families all across Georgia. And we would also like to save the names of the forts, if you don't mind, everybody. They have the right, they put in the Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren clause, where they have the right to take all the names of our past warriors, heroes in some cases, many cases. Some turned out to be heroes in disguise, perhaps.
Heroes in disguise. He's talking about people who took up arms against the United States government and killed U.S. soldiers. He's talking about traitors to the Republic. He's talking about fucking traitors, and he's calling them heroes in disguise.
But they want to take the names off, and they have the right to desecrate, to take down, to destroy, to demolish places in our national parks that we don't want demolished. So we have to be very careful of that. We can't let that happen.
Yeah, how dare we rename some of these things that were named after people who fought and killed for the right to own people as property? How dare we?
They want to put it in our military bill, of all people. Elizabeth Warren puts that clause in the military bill. They will impose total open borders so that people can pour into our country, and they will give them free health care, free welfare, and the right to vote in your elections. You won't ever win another election as a Republican. They even want to take down the wall. The wall, I wanted the wall too. We wanted a lot of things. Take down the wall. I heard him say it the other day. We will take down the wall. We have the strongest border we've ever had now. We're almost finished with the wall. Strongest border, right, Johnny? And we built it this...
Oh, and respect, I agree. We should catch illegal votes. That's not the issue. My issue is that if the cost of catching these votes is to disenfranchise 32 people for every one that we catch, it's not a good method of doing that. And the other problem is that, again, it's one of those problems that isn't really a big problem. The rate of fraud in this country is something like 0.03%. It's ridiculously low. So all of these things like voter IDs or signature matching, it's an attempt to fix a problem that doesn't necessarily exist. Oh yeah, Pavlov's devil dog. Yeah, we gave telecom companies I think something on the order of like $2 trillion in order to build high-speed internet across the United States. And they got 1/3 of it done and then asked for more money because they ran out. This is why we shouldn't have like private companies do things that are for the public good. Oh, and Ashley, I will get to that story in a bit, and I have that on the docket for today.
Fight. It's incredible
That's okay.
the effect it's having.
It's okay.
We built it despite rather, everybody said no chance. I mean, we had a whole very powerful Democrat Party oppose me. And yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, the court just ruled that the money I took was taken illegally. So at least we have a legal wall. The appeals court. So we took it and we built the wall, and we'll be finished with it very soon, but it's had a tremendous impact on illegal immigrants coming into the country. And by the way, we want people to come into our country. You see that by the vote again. But we want people to come in legally and through merit, where they can help us.
Okay, we've gone over this before on stream, but like immigrants, either illegal immigrants or legal immigrants, either way, immigrants contribute positively to their local economies and to our national economy, like by a significant margin. Like when they're talking about through merit, that's just a thinly veiled way of saying if they're rich. If they're rich, they can come in. I'm sorry, but this is fucking America. And we built ourselves off of immigrants. This is the place that erected a statue in our main immigration harbor from Europe, and that says, "Give us your poor, your downtrodden." Like this is the place where it's supposed to be the land of opportunity. And that means a land of opportunity for everyone, not just for rich assholes from other countries. Sorry. I want our country to be great, and part of that is by accepting all immigrants who want to come here and work hard and build a life for themselves. So, yeah, this is some un-American bullshit coming out of the president's mouth right now.
Radical Democrats will implement nationwide catch and release. You know what that is? You catch a killer, you catch a rapist, and you say, "Oh, thank you very much. Please give us your name. Oh, come back."
Nope, that's not how it works. If they catch a killer, if they catch a rapist, they don't just put them back out on the street. Not how this works. Catch and release is if they catch like an undocumented immigrant, then they release them like in their country of origin. That's it. It's deporting them. And it's focusing more on deporting people who have criminal records. So yeah, if you catch a rapist or a murderer, you don't just immediately deport them. You have to process them. They're still subject to our laws. The trick is to get conservatives to pass anti-voter suppression laws couched in anti-voter fraud rhetoric. Maybe call it Make Every Vote Count bill. I agree, except that Republicans are already against every vote counting. This is why they're for the Electoral College right now.
Back in 3 years, we're going to put you on trial. Oh, good. You never see them, by the way. Remember I had that debate with Joe Biden. He said, "No, they come back." Yeah, they don't come back. They don't come back. No.
Something along the lines of like 95% of undocumented immigrants make their court date if you just let them go. Like 95%. Would you rather be going after 100% of undocumented immigrants and have to house and feed and have expenses for 100% of undocumented immigrants? Or would you rather only have to do that for a small minority of undocumented immigrants who have previously not made their court dates? This is a really easy way of like showing how we could cut down costs. Republicans are supposed to be in favor of balancing the books and cutting down costs. You know what costs a lot of money? Holding people indefinitely in prison camps that are run for profit at the expense of the U.S. taxpayer.
They don't come back. Like never. Maybe 1%, but I doubt it. That's the end of them. You let them loose in our country. I got rid of it. You think that was easy? And install...
Donald Trump says this because that's what Donald Trump would do, by the way.
Sanctuary cities all across the country. That's what they want. Freeing criminal aliens and MS-13 gang members, the most vicious people. They don't like guns because it's not painful enough. They like using knives. It's true. They don't like guns.
I'm sorry, I love this absolute nonsense of like, yeah, Democrats for no reason want MS-13 to be free so that they can come and rape your family. Like, what? No, this is are you fucking serious? Are you saying this is like an actual democratic platform? Like the Democrats are running a pro MS-13 platform? No.
They'd rather cut somebody up to wreak havoc and terror upon innocent families. We've moved thousands and thousands of MS-13 the hell out of our country. We moved them back to where they came from. And some we put in prison because they're too dangerous to move back, because they'll try and figure a way. You know, they're not stupid. They're vicious, but they're not stupid. Sort of like the Democrats, if you think about it. They'll confiscate privately owned firearms and share. What they will do, they will share everything with themselves, only dangerous equipment, and they will totally cut up a thing called your Second Amendment rights. They'll make Washington, D.C. a state, and many other places, guaranteeing 2, 4, or 6 additional left-wing senators. You know, they want to make numerous...
Damn. How dare our territories have representation in Congress? Damn.
places states. This way you'll have a lot more, Louis, you can have a lot more company in Congress. You'll have another 30, 40 congressional people from places you've never even heard of. You've never even heard of. Louis Gohmert, the great Louis Gohmert.
Yeah, you've never heard of, but they're controlled by the United States. And they deserve representation.
And they'll be voting against Georgia every time, completely canceling out your voice in Washington forever. Like David Perdue, I'll never forget it. You got hit by a piece of a hurricane. Remember that? The farmers got hit so hard. And I went with Sonny and with David and some other great people from Georgia. And I said, is there a way we can pay these people? They never asked for anything, and their orchards were wiped out. One of the men said this was going to be the best crop I ever had. I was a week and a half away from finally, after 10, 12 years, making some money. And a week and a half early, he gets hit by the remnants of that big hurricane from Florida. Great state, great place, but you got hit. And David, we took 100% care of those people, right? We took 100% care, yeah. With the help of Sonny Perdue, Secretary of Agriculture. And I felt so good. But I met those, I met them. There were 33 of them standing, and they were all in line. What do you do? I have this. What? It was a tragic. And nobody wanted anything. They didn't even want it. They said we could borrow it. They didn't want it. These are incredible people. They don't want anything. They just want a level playing field. But we took care of them. They never forgot it either. It's very interesting. I still hear from some of those people. The extreme left will pack the Supreme Court with 24 radical justices. That's the last number I heard. I used to hear it was 16. Now it's up to 24. Pretty soon you'll have another Congress. 24 radical justices instead of 9 justices that we have right now. And they want them to revolve up and down the court system so that Supreme Court justices can spend time in other locations, down the totem pole. They want to hurt the Supreme Court, and they want to hurt it very badly. And if these two don't get in, or if I don't get in and these don't, we got to get, the best would be all 3. Nothing will happen. All 3. But they want to destroy the sanctity of the Supreme Court, the importance of the Supreme Court, the majesty of the Supreme Court. They'll terminate religious liberty, cancel free speech, and force you to fund extreme late-term abortion.
That's right, Democrats. They want to bash your baby's skull on the ground. Democrats want the right to actually do, like, post-birth abortion. You know, they want to be able to see a small child running around at 5 years old and just lift them up by the legs and bash their head on a rock. This is what Democrats want. You know, the monstrous Democrats. They're conniving. They're basically as bad as MS-13. This is what Democrats want, indeed, yes.
And there will be nothing to stop them. If they don't get in, there's going to be nothing to stop them. You have no idea how bad it will be. There will be nothing. I used to argue with certain people about the filibuster. I said, look, I don't like it either, but I do it because I know they're going to do it. Everybody said, oh, they'll never do it. They're doing it. They've already announced they're going to do it. That means they can do anything they want. And you know, the Republicans, they play a different game. I don't know, maybe they love the country more. But they said, no, they'll never do it. And I said, with Schumer, he'll do it the first day he gets in, he'll do it. And that's exactly what's happening. And he'll do it, and he will do that to the Supreme Court. There's no question, but they look forward to it. Because you know why? We put on 3, think of this, 3 great justices, and we'll be over 300 federal judges in the United States, which will be a record. 300. 300. And they don't want to wait. They want to do it very quickly. Let's just vote and we'll take it. You know, this takes years and years and years to slowly change a court. And perhaps I got a little bit lucky to get 3. A lot of presidents have had none. They've never had. They stay on for a long time. They're young when they go on and they're old when they come off. But the fact is, a lot of presidents, good presidents, great presidents, they say you can't be a great president unless you put in Supreme Court justices. They say it's the single most important thing a president can do. And I'm not sure that's right. I think military defense, military offense, frankly, is the most important thing. But it's certainly one of the most important things you can do. And the fact that I have more than, I will have by the end, more than 300, first term.
Yeah. I put in multiple Supreme Court judges that will last for the end of time, but really the most important thing that I could do is flex our military muscles and, domineer the world, show how big our military dick is,
Think of it. And if we do a second term, which I hope we do, we could have close to 540. But the fact that I had 3 Supreme Court justices in the first term is not making them feel too good. They will unilaterally surrender to China. They're already doing it. And, Hunter made a lot of money in China. What's he going to do? Sending our factories and our jobs overseas. They will raise your taxes. We lowered your taxes. We gave you the greatest.
Donald Trump's merchandise is manufactured in China, just as an FYI.
Tax decrease, tax cut in the history of our country. And they want to get rid of that and raise your taxes and raise your regulations. We cut more regulations than any president in the history of our country. That's one of the reasons our...
Fun fact, everybody. Did you know that regulations are what keep your water clean? They're what prevent companies from being like, we're going to dump all of our toxic waste into this water supply because it's easier and cheaper for us to do that than it is to properly dispose of it. And you know what happens then? You and your family get cancer and die because it was cheaper for some company to, get rid of their waste that way. And if there are no regulations against that, you and your family just get cancer and die and nothing gets done about it. So, I don't know. Maybe some of these regulations are actually a good thing. Maybe some of this red tape is there for a reason. Just as an idea.
Business came back. With the pandemic, as bad as it is, it's horrible. Should have never happened. China allowed this to happen. Should have never happened. But we went down less. A lot of people don't like to talk our economy. We went down less, and we went up more than any other country in the world. We went down less because we had a good foundation. And yesterday again, so now...
We had a good foundation. That's why we have record unemployment and why we have I can't find the exact numbers. Last I saw it was around 40 million people, but that was a couple months ago. We had 40 million people who weren't able to make their rent. So I'm going to guess that by the end of the year, it's going to be far more than 40 million. But we have far more than 40 million people on the verge of being homeless, which, for the record, is about 13 times the size of the homeless population during the Great Depression. So, maybe it's not doing that great. Maybe capitalism isn't doing super hot.
Oh, I thought it was 48. It's actually 128 times. Can you believe it? We set a new stock market record. But this one was great because the Dow Jones Industrial Average, think of this, over 30,000 for the first time ever over the last couple of weeks. And yesterday, it was 30.
He can't talk about any other metrics because that's the only metric in our country that's doing well. And it's because the rich have only gotten richer during COVID-19.
30,200. Can you believe this? And this is during, hopefully, what will be, we're rounding the corner of the pandemic. But this is during a pandemic. We broke 30,000, a number that was unthinkable when I first came. When I first came in at around 16,000, the concept of hitting a 30,000 Dow was not even possible. And we not only hit it, can you imagine if we didn't get hit by this freak, this total freak that came into our country? Can you imagine if we didn't get hit? But in a way, and I thought of this before, David, in a way we did this sort of twice. We took it from the time I came in to the time we got hit, and nobody's blaming us for that. Every country, 188, got hit. Some were totally devastated. I don't know if they ever recover. But if you think about it, we had 2. We did it the first time. We went up from where I took it over, way up, then it went down. Then we had a second. So we really had 2. And now we're going to get money because we want the money. First of all, the states and cities should open up. They should open up. And we're working hard against the Democrats, but we're working hard to get some money out to the people because they need it. It's not their fault that they got hit with something from China. And you notice the way the Democrats like to say, it came from Italy. No, it came from China. And that's okay to say it. They like to say it came from Europe. No, actually, specifically, it came from Italy. Italy's saying, what did we do?
What? I haven't heard a single Democrat say that it came from Italy. Yeah, imagine if we would have just handled this correctly. Yeah.
They'll wage war on American energy, absolutely decimating Georgia's middle class. Your bills will go up. Not a huge energy producer, but Texas. Remember they said, Trump will lose Texas by a lot. I said, wait a minute. I'm in favor of energy. I'm the one that built. We have the greatest energy we've ever had. And it all happened this period of time. So you're telling me that I'm going to lose Texas to a guy that's against fracking, against energy, against religion, and against guns. You tell me that? I end up winning Texas by so much. Somebody said, we don't even know how much. And we knew that before, but it's fake news. They said Wisconsin.
Oh, the first U.S.
A poll
cases
came
came
out,
from
Washington
Italy?
Post, ABC.
I mean, that makes
Just
sense.
before the election. I'm going to lose Wisconsin by 17 points. I said, no, I'm going to win Wisconsin. Well, actually, I won Wisconsin. They're trying to say he's a little down, but I actually won. But that's called suppression. That's called the suppression poll. That's a poll that's so devastating. When I asked one of the pollsters, I said, why did they go so far? Why don't they just say 4 or 5? Because in 4 years, they're going to lose all respect. They don't care. They'll do anything to win. They'll do anything to beat you. They don't care. These people are sick. 17 points, and we actually won. Remember, so many of the states, I won every one of them. Every one of these states. And by the way, the swing states that we're all fighting over now, I won them all by a lot. I won them all by a lot. And I have to say, if I lost, I'd be a very gracious loser. If I lost,
Sure. Sure you would, bud. You rapscallion scamp, you.
I would say I lost, and I'd go to Florida, and I'd take it easy, and I'd go around, and I'd say I did a good job. But you can't ever accept when they steal and rig and rob.
Everything he's saying right now is entirely, like, it might be true if he wasn't on the verge of bankruptcy and he wasn't grifting hundreds of millions of dollars off of all of these people.
Can't accept. Well, the Democrats did try to steal the presidency. They're trying like hell. Do you ever notice the fake news? Today he's appointing his this, his that, Sonny, his Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny. I like Sonny. We want Sonny. He was a great governor here for 8 years, right? You would have solved this problem in about 2 hours, Sonny. He would have said, let the legislature open, let the vote, let us be transparent on signatures. I think that's okay. But we're working hard to ensure that it doesn't happen, and now they're trying to steal these 2 important Senate seats from Georgia. And these seats are the last line of defense to save America and protect all that we have accomplished. And you know, we've
I
accomplished
am
things that
not
no other
better off
president
today
has
than I was
accomplished, no other
4 years
administration.
ago.
And I did it with
Not
these 2
even
people.
close,
I didn't know
baby.
Kelly. When Kelly came in, I didn't really know what to think. There is nobody that fought harder for me, and I have to tell you this. Do you mind me telling you like publicly? Is that okay? There is nobody. David understands this too. She fought. What a trooper. She was so tough and smart. She even went against Mitt Romney. She didn't like Mitt Romney too much. She said, I won't say what she said, but it was tough. But she is, we call him kryptonite. You know, anything he touches, they lose. But you were so great, and I'll not forget it. And David's been my friend for a long time, for a long, long time. And there's nobody in Washington that's more respected than David Perdue. There's nobody.
What,
There's
Derby
nobody.
Yank?
So we have to
Everything
keep
okay?
If the other side manages to steal both elections, we will have total one-party socialist control, and everything you care about will be gone. Your whole philosophy is going to be gone. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris,
Kamala?
Brian Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. They want to take away your guns. I never got it. That's one of the reasons I knew. How can you win?
No Democrat is running on taking people's fucking guns. There's no Democrat who has like a platform of like, yeah, we're going to take every gun from conservatives. I don't think I've seen a single policy position that's like, yeah, we're going to have a policy where we confiscate like AR-15s. I haven't seen anything remotely like that. This is all just wild fear-mongering. Did you see the thing about how the Spanish flu helped the rise of Nazism? Derby Yank, if you could whisper that to one of the mods, I would love to read it.
No oil, no guns, no God. Oh, they won. I don't think so. Okay, I don't think so. We knew that a long time ago. They want to take away your jobs, take away your borders, take away your freedom, take away your religion, and they even want to take away your beautiful Christmas that we just got back.
Yeah, Democrats hate Christmas. That's why they chant death to Christmas in their secret cabals where they drink the blood and adrenochromes of young children.
I have to be very careful. You know, when I sort of imitate that, right? You remember I was saying suburban women? I say suburban women love me.
Also remember, hashtag Santa was a socialist, okay? Hashtag Santa is a socialist, rather. Santa comes and gives toys to all of the good girls and boys. This is socialism. Santa is a socialist, okay? Just telling it like it is. He runs a worker co-op at the North Pole to produce all the toys. You know, it's a good life up there, okay? Santa Claus is socialist, everybody. And as such, he aligns neatly with the radical leftist Democrats.
Please love me. I've been so good to you. I've been so good to you. I got rid of the worst regulation in the history of suburbia. I got rid of that regulation, so now you can actually have a house without a building going up next to it that you're not going to be happy about.
Again, this is Donald Trump being fucking racist, everybody. Hello. People in suburbia don't give a shit if a building goes up next to them. What they give a shit about is if that building is going to lower their property value. And in the case of suburbia, one of the common fears is that black people moving in will lower their property values. This is why low-income housing is a buzzword for black people. This is why black and brown people moving in has been anathema to, like, suburban living for, like, fucking since the creation of suburbia. Like, guys, the suburbs were initially created because white people ran out to the countryside to escape from city life because black people were moving into the cities. So this is just a very veiled way of Donald Trump saying, I protected the white women from the black men. This is it. This is it.
Without crime increasing by tenfold and this and that. So I said, but suburban women, please, please love me. And CNN put me on. Donald Trump is begging. He's begging and crying for the vote of suburban women, right? These people are sick. So you have to be very careful when you're sarcastic. Sarcasm doesn't work. Sarcasm doesn't work with a, wow, that is a big group of people back there. Look at that. The fake news. Whoa. That's a big group. That is a lot of fake news. Well, now we call it the fake news and suppression news. I use the word suppression because now they got a new thing going. This happened since Hunter because we were killing him on Hunter, stealing money from every country. He was a human vacuum cleaner and it was hurting them badly.
Damn, Trump, you jealous? You jealous, Trump?
So all of a sudden, big tech, together with their partner, the Democrats, and their partner, the fake news media, they decide, under no circumstances will we ever talk about it again. So you have 95% of the media, you could have them be Jesse James and walk into the bank with a gun, hold them up, give me all your money, and they won't talk about it. And it's hard to have a scandal if they don't talk about it. Other than the New York Post and people like Sean Hannity and people like Laura, and Tucker is doing good. I like Tucker lately. And our friends in the morning, and I tell you, we have some great new people, OAN, Newsmax, and Judge Janine, she's on, right? She's on tonight. And Jesse Waters is great, and Pete Hegseth. And I'm in trouble because I don't mention everybody, but we have great people. We have a great voice, but the fact is, most of the press was suppressed, so that no matter what, they wouldn't talk. And it was incredible. And I have to give a lot of credit to Carl Allen and the New York Post for what they did, because they went out and they fought him, and they fought him hard. Oldest paper in America, fourth or fifth biggest, and they should be very proud of themselves. But we're doing the same thing. These two incredible people are doing the same thing. We fight. If you don't get out and vote, they're going to win. Now, a lot of people, friends of mine, say, let's not vote. We're not going to vote because we're angry about the presidential election. And they're friends of mine. They're people that are great people. They're real friends, and more than just two. There are numerous people, and it's almost like a protest. But if you do that, the radical left wins, okay?
Damn. Do it then. Let us win, please.
It's sort of an instinct of mine. You're angry because so many votes were stolen, it was taken away. And you say, well, we're not going to do it. We can't do that. We have to actually do just the opposite. We can't do that. We can't do that. We have to do just the opposite. If you don't vote, the socialists and the communists win. They win. Georgia patriots must show up and vote for these two incredible people. And I'm telling you, they're two of the finest people you'll ever meet. We can fight for the presidency and fight to elect our two great senators, and we can do it at the same time. We'll do it at the same time. It's all right. The election is about David Perdue, one of the greats, Kelly Loeffler, a person who is just unbelievable how she picked it up. No, but this natural talent. I always say, as an athlete, I'd always say, would you rather practice or have natural talent? I said, the best is both, right? But she's got a great natural talent. A great natural talent, just very respected. But they believe, both of them, in America, and they believe in our values and all that we stand for, and they understand the state. They love your state. If they didn't, I wouldn't be here, because I love your state too, by the way. This election is about the radical left movement that hates America and wants to erase our history and wipe away everything that we hold dear. They want to rip down our statues. I signed a bill. I took an old bill, because we could never get it today in the House, headed by Crazy Nancy. I took an old bill that said 10 years in prison. They use the word prison, not jail. 10 years in prison if you take down a statue.
It's because prison and jail are two different things. The president of the fucking United States should know this.
I haven't seen it happen lately. Do you notice? Everyone said, you can't use that. I'll never forget. I heard they were going to, they did destruction around, and all in radical left Democrat-run cities, by the way. And we're not supposed to go in. I don't know. If I had it to do again, I think I would have sent the military in. You want to know the truth? But we're not supposed to.
Fascist. fascist. This man is a fucking fascist.
Supposed to be able to handle their own affairs. I don't know. But all over they said, sir, you can't do this, Bill. This is too tough. I said, really? They're going to tear down a statue of Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, desecrate the most beautiful pieces of art. And
Yeah, if they tear down statues, we need to send in the military to gun them down with live ammunition. Just mow them down. That's what our president is saying. Fucking clown.
they represent our country. And now they want to do it again. They want to put it in. I told you we can't let it happen. Over the last 4 years, David Perdue has been one of the toughest fighters for our America First agenda in Washington. And David saw this. Did you see last week?
Just like Kent
China
State,
said,
yeah.
China doesn't like me too much. They pay us billions and billions. That never happened. Billions and billions of dollars in tariffs. And they pay it. They devalued their currency. They paid a lot of money. They don't like me. The happiest people in the world right now are the leaders of China. The second happiest are the leaders of Iran. What we would have done in the next 4 years, we would have been on a footing like nobody's ever, and now we're giving it all away. But China said, we will not deal with you unless you get rid of the America First policy. And you know what the Democrats said? They said, yes, we will do that. Can you believe this? And that's when I realized what a brilliant name that is. You know, we come up with some...
Yeah, guys, just so you know, we're losing the trade war. Like, we're not winning when it comes to the tariffs that China's paying us. China is paying us these tariffs, but we're also paying China tariffs. And we pay China far more in those tariffs.
Some good ones, but that's a good one. We came up with plenty good ones, haven't we? Some of them I won't use because some of those people are now friends of mine, but we came up with some good ones. But America First...
Yeah, and for the record, China's now, like, taking charge of the TPP. Like, yeah, they have won economically far beyond anything they ever could have dreamed of when Donald Trump came into office.
And I looked at Melania a week ago and I said, can you believe it? They are saying that they don't agree with America First. How do you say that? I mean, how do you say it? We don't agree with America First. We agree with China. Yes, we will get rid of America First policy. I think, David, you don't like that too much, right? And if they're here, it won't happen because nothing's going to be able to get passed that's not going to be reasonable. He fought to pass the largest package, David, of tax cuts and reforms in American
Yeah, you fought for that larger package, didn't you, David?
history. He helped lead the effort to repeal a record number of job-killing regulations, the likes of which you've never seen, including the unfair Waters of the United States rule that crippled work for our farmers and our builders. You know, it's such a beautiful name, but it was destroying people. And I'll never... Waters of the United... How beautiful is that? Waters of the United States. And I said, I got to get rid of it. I got to do it, but I'm going to get killed. Because the only thing good about it was the title. Waters... What are you doing today? I'm terminating Waters of the United States. Well, it was a little bit like the Paris Environmental Accord, right? The Paris Environmental Accord. I said, I'm going to get killed in this one. But we would have paid trillions and trillions of dollars. Russia has a big advantage of us. They go back to old days when the air was very dirty. That was their standard. China doesn't kick in until 2030. We kick in immediately, and the money that would have... would have cost us, and if we adhered to it, we would have had to close up 20% of our factories. And now, the first thing they want to do, John Kerry, great negotiator, the first thing they want to do is they want to, number one, they want to bring back the Paris Accord, Environmental Accord, which will cost us... That was designed to destroy the United States. The second thing they want to do is let's give Iran billions of dollars. Oh, they're so happy. Iran would have been in my office in the first hour after we won the election to make a deal. But perhaps they still will. He said they still will. After Hurricane Michael devastated our farmers in southwest Georgia, as I said, no one worked harder to get them relief than David Perdue. He would call me all the time. He actually called me more than Sonny, and Sonny said agriculture. What the hell's going on, Sonny? Sonny, what happened to you, Sonny? It's true, David would call all the time. And remember how tough the Democrats made? They didn't want to give him anything. But we got it. We got him more than they even thought possible. Senator Perdue helped pass the unprecedented $2.5 trillion investment in our United States military, delivering the largest pay raises in addition to everything else for our warriors in a decade. And we now have the greatest, most modern military in the history of our country. We have brand new fighter jets, brand new bombers, brand new missiles and rockets, hypersonic missiles. We have hypersonic and hydrosonic. You know what hydrosonic is? Water. We have them all. We have missiles that go 7 times faster than any missile in the world. And when we took over, our military was decimated, our military was tired, our military was in big trouble. And you remember, and I've said it a lot, one of the world's most overrated generals came to see me. He said, sir, we have no ammunition. We had a little problem with a certain country. And he said, sir, we have no ammunition. I said, tell me you're not saying that. We didn't have ammunition.
Just so you know, guys, hydrosonic missiles are not a thing. I know that a lot of people have been just like listening to this and like being like, oh, sure, yeah, it's full bullshit. Hydrosonic missiles aren't a thing. We have torpedoes. Torpedoes are a thing. Underwater missiles are a thing. Hydrosonic missiles are not a thing. Hydrosonic is a brand of toothbrush. He's confusing missile technology for toothbrush brands. This is the Republican president, everybody.
Ammunition, think of it. We had very little ammunition, and I'll never forget that statement. I said that should never happen to a president of the United States again, nor should being spied on ever happen to a president of the United States again. Senator Perdue has been a tremendous leader on pro-American immigration reform like nobody else. He voted very powerfully when I was going through hell on the wall. They would have given me anything. They gave me the money for the military. They just didn't want to give me money for the wall, so I took it out of the military. What the hell could I do? That was rather good. It's good to be a developer every once in a while. That was the one where the judges ruled yesterday, so they said it was fine because I called it national security. So we took it out of the military. They didn't figure that one out. Now they do. But you know what? They don't have to be careful because it's turned out to be very popular and very successful. Shut down sanctuary cities.
Yeah, he is in
chain
1.5
migration,
speed. Yeah.
and protect American jobs, David did. He voted to confirm nearly 300 of the judges that I talked about, the federal judges that interpret the Constitution as written. And when the Democrat mob came for Judge Kavanaugh,
I wonder what our soldiers would have preferred. Like, however many billions of dollars that have been spent on a fucking wall that doesn't work, or a pay increase. You know, increase how much money they make. We could have increased that much money by using the wall funds for that instead. I wonder which our soldiers would have appreciated more. Just a thought.
David Perdue stood strong. And, you know, I'm just thinking they both stood strong when they impeached your president for making a perfect phone call. I'm the only president ever, that got impeached for making a perfect phone call. But those two...
What? He keeps saying this. What the fuck does making a perfect phone call mean? Did you see the video of people going through the gaps in the wall? No, but I've seen pictures of, you know, people with ladders going over the wall. Also, the vast majority of illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants come into the country legally and overstay their visas, and they come into the country via plane travel. So this is not that's not a problem that a wall fixes, everybody. Just, it's stupid all around to build a wall.
Were among the best. Senator Perdue is an outsider, a businessman, a great businessman, and a true American patriot. You need him fighting for...
Oh, the money was originally earmarked for newer housing and barracks? Oof. Yeah, I bet they would have appreciated that a little bit more, too.
You and your family and your values, because the United States Senate cannot be the same without them. So that's why I'm here. You know, I don't do these things for other people. In fact, I was curious. I didn't know if anyone was going to show up. I said, I'm doing it for other people. This is a hell of a crowd. Look, as far as the eye can see. As far as the eye can see. I don't like doing it for other people. I said, David and Kelly called, would you do a rally? I said, not really. I did 56 of them in a little tiny period of time. I said, let me have... And I said, when they asked, it was really not. But, you know, I don't do it for other people. It's a lot of work to do a rally. A lot of work. People don't realize when you do... I did 5 a day the last 4 or 5 days. One day I did 6.
Ooh, Bobby Fischer, 2170, coming in with a spicy question. Do you support a one-state or two-state solution? I think you have to support a two-state solution, my dude. I think a one-state solution is doomed to a lot of failure in the Middle East. I think if you embrace a one-state solution, that's going to basically create a whole underclass of Israeli society, and I don't think that's going to be good for anybody involved. Do you believe it's right for Israel to occupy and settle the West Bank? Nope. I agree with the international ruling on this matter, in that largely Israel has been creating illegal settlements and breaking international law for the better part of like 2 decades. And that should really stop. They should also turn Palestine into something that resembles less of an open-air prison. That would probably be good, too. Yeah. That's my take.
And the smallest one, think of it, the smallest one at 25,000 people. You think that's fun? In some of them, it's 75 degrees, and in others, it's
That's right,
20
Derby,
degrees
and-
below zero, and you're doing them both. I'm saying, how's the weather out
I'm
there?
sure-
Sure, it's about 20 degrees below zero. That's good.
Honestly, Ashley, I'm sure that Bobby Fischer's account is relatively new, but my issue is like these are interesting questions to answer. You know, I haven't really talked a whole lot about like the Israel-Palestine issue on this channel, and you know, Palestine should be a free state. That's my position.
Then I land the next stop. How we doing? Sir, it's 82. David's opponent, John Ossoff, is a radical left-wing zealot who is very proud to be endorsed by Bernie Sanders, Crazy Bernie. Ossoff supports defunding the police, supports the crazy Green New Deal. That's another beauty. Don't forget.
Yeah, he supports creating thousands of new jobs in emerging tech sectors. You all love the horse and buggy industry, don't you? We need to hold on and prop up the horse and buggy industry instead of embracing those scary new cars. I know that there would be thousands of jobs created if we embraced automobiles, but that you know the we don't need that in America. We're a horse and buggy nation, damn it.
The Green New Deal is really $100 trillion, okay? It's $100 trillion. They don't say that, Louis, do they? They talk about $3 trillion. They got down to $3 trillion. No, it's $100 trillion is what they wanted. That's more money. If our economy was going unbelievable gangbusters for 100 years, no recession, no anything, we couldn't come close to making $100 trillion. They want to.
Fun fact, if the United States operated without growing for the next 100 years, we would have almost $500 trillion. If we apportioned some of that money a little bit every single year, we could do it relatively easily. And also, that's assuming the numbers that he's throwing out right now are correct, which I'm almost 100% sure they are not. Now, also, just as a fun fact here, do you not think that investing money in something that everyone around the world is going to want to buy, and into manufacturing jobs, and into, you know, these emerging tech sectors and emerging research areas, do you not think that those would pay off? In a world that is slowly dying to climate change. Anyway, something to think about. I think that some of these investments would probably be coming back towards the United States if we actually put money into these things.
Rip down buildings and rebuild them with no windows. I like windows. I like big, beautiful windows. He wants to do a total government takeover of healthcare that will destroy your doctor's offices and rural hospitals. So if you're sick, if you have a cold, go to a hospital, wait online for about 3 days, and hope you get a decent doctor. Ossoff also supports a crippling nationwide lockdown.
Yeah, also, the cost of not doing the Green New Deal, like, dwarfs $100 trillion. Like, we're talking in the quadrillions of in the quadrillions when it comes to damage of not doing anything to avert, like, climate change. Like, we're talking, like, orders of magnitude more money if we do nothing.
He wants you to lock your home nice and tight after you're inside of it. And he passes legislation to let hardened criminals go free. Get them out of jail. Get them out of jail. Ossoff will be a complete tool for the radical left owners who are trying to buy Georgia Senate seats. Do you see the money these people have raised? I mean, it's really, it's very, well, of course, I just raised $250 million, and I should say.
Yeah, you really shouldn't talk, because I believe every donation under $8,000 goes directly into a special political leadership PAC that can go straight into his own bank account.
I didn't raise it. It just came. I said, how are we doing on that front? You know, because we didn't get great publicity. Boy, they were so happy, these guys. You might not be happy in a few weeks. You know, you might not. No, they were so happy. I said, how's fundraising going? They said, sir, about $250 million. I said, $250 million what? Dollars. How the hell did that happen? Because people believe in what we're doing. That's why. They believe in it. But that's why Ossoff's donations come from Silicon Valley, San Francisco and the other liberal places, and they don't come from Georgia. This is not your fault. I know you. You're with
Citation fucking needed.
me. I'm with you. We've always had wins from primaries to 2 elections. We won 2 elections, believe it or not. I think I won the second one by more than I won the first one. I do, right? Bill, I won the second one by more. On January 5th, you also need to vote for your incredible Republican Senator, Kelly Loeffler. Kelly has been an exceptional champion for Georgia's workers and families, and I know what they fight for. I could tell you about David, I could tell you about Kelly. She fights for you every single day, loves your state. When our nation was hit with the China virus, Senator Loeffler helped rescue the U.S. economy by voting to pass a historic...
Look at them, like, smile behind him, like, tee-hee-hee, he said China virus, tee-hee-hee.
$3 trillion bill, relief for American workers and families, and a lot of people were against it, and it turned out to be a great thing, Kelly, thank you. A lot of people said, oh, it's too much. I said, it's not their fault, and I want to get them more money now, and I like the higher number rather than the lower number. We'll make it back. With her help, we secured $15 billion for 175,000 Georgia small businesses and saved 1.5 million Georgia jobs. That was both of them, really, both of them. Kelly is a relentless advocate for Georgia farm.
Damn, I wonder how much money $100 trillion over the course of a century might, how many jobs might that create, Donald Trump? Is this a new video? Yeah, this is from his rally 2 days ago.
And she has fought tirelessly to get them relief in this pandemic. And by the way, her husband is a fine man who's one of the most respected men in the country. I want to tell you that. I want to tell you that. He's a great man. He's a great gentleman. At the urging of, if you're successful today, it's supposed to be a bad thing. No, I think it means you're smart sometimes, right? He's a smart guy, but he's a great guy. He's a great man. At the urging of...
Yeah, it sometimes means you're smart. Sometimes.
Kelly and David, my administration took historic action to protect growers of Georgia blueberries, peppers, squash, and cucumbers. Who does cucumbers around here? Because I like cucumbers. I'm the only one. I like cucumbers. When our law enforcement heroes were under attack, Senator Loeffler stood up to the Marxists and introduced legislation to protect our brave men and women in blue, and she was threatened all over the place. That threat meant nothing. That was a wasted number.
So my wife got me this weird new tool for Christmas, and at first I thought it looked kind of crazy.
Number of phone calls or however the hell they threatened you. That was a waste of time. She also introduced legislation to prevent Democrat gun grabbers like Beto O'Rourke. Remember Beto? Beto. There's a guy, he has another one. He wants to take your guns away. Oh, by the way, Trump is going to lose Texas, but Beto O'Rourke, who's a big factor in that whole thing, wants to take... Remember when Beto was running, he was riding high, and then Ted Cruz has done a great job, beat Beto O'Rourke. But Beto was riding high for a while. And remember he was on the cover of a certain really bad magazine. I won't mention the name. It's failing. It won't be in business for another 6 months, I don't think. I hope. But he was on the cover, and he said, I was born to do this. And I said, anybody that says they were born to do this, they're going to be losing very quickly. And you know what? Within about 2 months, he was a stone-cold loser. And just weeks ago, Senator Loeffler cast her vote to confirm our newest Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett. They both did, by the way. They both did. I can't leave David out of that one. Kelly's opponent, Raphael Warnock, is a dangerous extremist who is radically opposed to your values. He said he believes that, quote, nobody can serve God and the military. Oh, really? An appalling statement that dishonors the memory and generations of American heroes who fought for God and for our country. Raphael Warnock has openly declared his support for socialism, and he has even praised Marxists all over the world.
Hell yeah.
He once hosted the barbaric communist dictator, Fidel Castro. He likes Castro. I think he was a good man. He was a good guy, he said. He falsely slandered patriotic Americans as racists. He called police officers gangsters, thugs, and bullies. He supports abolishing caste.
Fun fact, do you know that police officers routinely steal more than burglars do in any given year? Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that burglars actually steal less valuables every year than police officers do? It's true. Police officers are empowered to steal via civil asset forfeiture and via the legal immunities they get from qualified immunity. So, yeah, they in a lot of ways do act like gangs and thugs. And in fact, in LA County, there are well-known gangs within the police force. In fact, there's some pretty good evidence that one aspiring police gang member was actually doing an initiation ritual when he killed an 18-year-old kid, and now there is a rather large investigation into the issue. So, yeah. you know, maybe it's not so crazy for Raphael Warnock to be calling police these things.
Cash bail. Look at what happened to New York with their cash bail. No cash bail. No bail. Don't worry about it. You killed somebody. Don't worry about it. You know, you're on the honor code. And he's declared,
Asset
quote,
forviture
open
rate
up
is
the
like double or
jails,
triple
free
the
the violent
theft rate.
criminals,
Yeah.
and prey on
I believe
Georgia,
it.
families, children. No, you can't do that. This is not for Georgia, I'm telling you. It might be for some places, and I tell you that too. This is not for Georgia. I think Raphael has to move to another state. Try it again. Warnock is strongly anti-Israel, and Warnock's own writings make clear that he believes America is a sinister nation that must be punished. Don't just take my word for it. We did something, I shouldn't be doing this for them. It costs too much money, but we'll do it anyway. We have a little video to play, please.
Senator Sanders, Senator Warren, and myself are all on the same team. What are you willing to sacrifice to make sure that overfunded police departments are defunded? There is no middle road on the climate crisis.
I not only support a Green New Deal, I don't think it goes far enough. I'm all for a Green New Deal. This is part of what gun registration is now. We want to track where the guns are. We need to cut the defense budget. Popeyes or Chick-fil-A? Oh, Popeye. Are you in favor of expanding the court or perhaps an age limit in place instead of a lifetime appointment? Look, I've said everything is on the table.
But if we win the majority, everything is on the table.
Now we take Georgia, then we change America. Change is coming to America.
The blue wave is comprised of those who are documented and undocumented.
We win these races in Georgia so that we don't have to negotiate.
Why is most of the video they're showing AOC? Alright, whatever.
That's their goal. Total radical control to bring horrific change to America. Only Georgians can stop them.
Nobody can serve God and the military.
Raphael Warnock attacks our military.
Police power, the kind of gangster and thug mentality.
Warnock attacks our police.
Somebody's got to open up the jails.
Raphael Warnock is dangerous. No wonder he defended this.
Not God bless America, not America.
Now my hope is that in early January, Democrats will pick up 2 more seats in the Georgia runoffs, and that will make our life a lot easier.
We need to send a message this year. We need to send a message that if you indulge this kind of politics, you're not just going to get beaten. You're going to get beaten so bad you can never run or show your face again in public. Because we have had enough, absolutely enough, of what we are getting from Donald Trump and his fellow tyrants right now. You're not just going to get beaten. You're going to get beaten so bad you can never run or show your face again in public.
So we had, I just looked at that one scene because it was in Washington, and we had about a month ago incredible crowds of people. They were angry as hell at the election, and they showed up, and it was incredible. Hundreds of thousands of people. People couldn't believe. Now, of course, some of the fake news said, hundreds of people are here. No, no, no. Tens of thousands of people. And you know, Antifa showed up. Not the right, but the left showed up. And they looked at some of these people, and they wanted to attack the crowd. They looked, and they said, no, thank you. And they left. No problem. They looked at some of these people. They said, no, thank you. Then it broke up about 3 o'clock. Everyone went home very peacefully. It was a beautiful day, actually. They all went home peacefully. And that night they came back. And there were a few families that stayed around with young children. And there were some elderly people that were having dinner in Washington, very elderly people. And they got attacked. Those people got attacked viciously by the scum from Antifa. We can't let this happen. We can't let this happen.
Citation needed? I believe citation needed, yeah.
But what they didn't play, what the fake news didn't play, is during the day they walked in and they wanted to do some damage and they took a look and they said, no thank you, we won't do it, we'll wait. We'll wait till we get the people with the children, we'll wait till we get the elderly people that want to stay in Washington and really just have a good time. And it was disgusting to watch. On January 5th, you must defeat Ossoff and Warnock and send
Mr.
2
Robot.
great people, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, back to the Senate. And if you don't mind, I'd like to ask David and Kelly to come up and say a few words, please.
Red Bomber X54, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it very much. Guys, just so you know, we're almost 25 followers away from 1K. I would really love to hit it in like, maybe we could hit it tonight, everybody. We could hit it tonight. I'm super excited. So let's see how well we do, okay? I do like this entire speech, though, had, like, no talk of, like, what Kelly Loeffler was gonna do or what David Perdue is gonna do, just, like, how evil their competition is, you know? Oh, rip Lily. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Mr. President. President Trump, you made America great again because you put America first. Thank you. President Trump created the strongest economy because he put the American worker first. He stood up, that's right, he stood up to the cancel culture, China, big tech, the fake news. We are standing strong for President Trump because he's fought for us every single day. Every day. Georgia, we need you to vote January 5th. If you're our voice on January 5th, we'll be your voice for years. We have to make sure that we keep America strong. Thank you. Well, you know what? My colleague, David Perdue, my good friend, wants to make sure that you vote. We are going to vote because if we don't vote, we will lose the country. If we vote, we will win.
Hey, guys, I want to take liberty just 1 second. I want to say...
Oh my god, guys. I just realized this is... The two of them together here. A, they clearly do not want to get COVID. They are staying so far away from each other. But B... Oh yeah, it is sped up. It is sped up, Nathaniel. But also B, I just realized that this is Angela from The Office and her gay senator friend. Like this is literally the same dynamic is going on here.
Hey guys, I want to take liberty just 1 second. I want to say something personal to President Trump. Hey guys, I want to say something for President Trump personally. Guys,
this guy was too much of a coward to show up to his own debate.
I want to say something personal for President Trump. God bless you. We love you, Mr. President. We love the First Lady. And we're going to fight and win those 2 seats and make sure you get a fair, square deal in the state of Georgia. God bless you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, folks.
Yeah, they literally today certified that he's now lost 3 different times in the state of Georgia.
Thank you. We can't let what happened 3 weeks ago, we can't let it happen. It's beyond me. We can't let it happen. And somewhere there's going to be a champion.
Yeah, not a cult at all, everybody.
There's going to be a champion that's going to do what's right, because this has been going on for a long time, but never like it's happened recently. And you know, they've used the pandemic and the phony fake ballots, the mail-in ballots, they use that to sabotage a country. We're not going to let it happen. As you know, a major issue in the state is voter fraud. It's been a big issue for a long time, but never like this.
Really? It's been a big issue for a long time, huh? It just like very these cities have been cheating for a very long time. You know, that there is all kinds of evidence that voter fraud has been an ongoing issue. You know, he just assembled like a team of people to investigate widespread voter fraud, and they just couldn't find anything, and they buried the report. Weird. Yeah, it's just like, but trust me, it's a thing everywhere, guys. It's totally a thing. Yeah.
We sent out tens of thousands, millions and millions of ballots. Nobody knew where they came from, where they are. People were getting 2, 3, 4 ballots. They were signing them, sending them in. What a mess. And I said it a year ago, and I said it every month. And I even said, let's postpone the election. And they said, oh, he's not an American. You know, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. We're all deeply disturbed and upset by the lying, cheating, robbing, stealing that's gone on with our elections. We know the Democrats will have dead people voting, and you got to watch it. Dead people, you wouldn't believe how many. Illegal aliens from out of the state, and they'll be...
Damn, it should be really easy for you to prove that then in court, huh?
Filing out and filling out ballots for people who don't even exist. They put up names. They have people signing their own name over and over. They have people signing names with the same pen, with the same signature. They don't even change, because they know once they get it in, it'll never be looked at. It'll never be looked at again because of people like your Secretary of State and your governor. So we want signature verification, but the answer, and we're going to be very careful. We're going to watch every ballot, David and Kelly. We can't let this happen again. And again, we have more light shining here because of what happened and because of the fact
I watched the
Giuliani
hearing in Michigan. I didn't watch the other ones, but I wanted to sit through one of them just to see like what the deal was, what's going on, what are they actually presenting. And every single one of their fucking witnesses was basically like, I don't know, there was some stuff going on that I thought was weird, but also, I don't know. I don't have any evidence. I don't know that there's actually any voter fraud going on. There was just a lot of things that I didn't understand. I have problems with the process. That was it. That was all they had.
Democrat fraud is not to stay at home. That's what Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, that's what they want you to do. Stay at home. Just stay at home. If you want to do something to them. I don't want to use the word revenge, but it is a certain revenge. To the Democrats, you show up and vote in record numbers. That's what you have to do. They can only win if they cheat. They can't win the state unless they cheat, and they cheat better than anybody. You know, when you think of it, the Republicans are much nicer. They're not nearly as vicious. Maybe a few of us. Republicans are too nice, he said. You're right. That's a very good. Thank you very much. I like that. But they are. They're too nice.
This is from a guy who said that he needed to kill the families of people who have wronged the United States.
They don't go after these criminals. They got to go after them. We're talking to people. Go after them. They don't go after them. They're afraid they'll hurt their reputation when they get out. I don't know. They don't go after them. But we're watching this so closely. We have everybody watching. You got to get out and vote. Let them steal Georgia again. You'll never be able to look yourself in the mirror. We have to hold the line. And you have two of the greatest people on earth. We have to hold the line. Make sure that you and everyone else know that you have to register to vote before this Monday, December 7th. Is that right? Monday, December 7th. You have to register to vote. Of course, you'll probably be allowed to if you're a Democrat. You know, they don't have any time limit. Did you see where Stacey is allowed to harvest, but other people can't harvest? How is that constitutional? How is that constitutional? Has anybody looked at that?
Now, pay attention, 007 fans. I have something here that may interest you in the form of the Extra Smart Wallet.
Go to georgia.gov and register immediately, then request your absentee ballot before December 31st. Don't delay. Watch it closely. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. And return your ballot the same day you get it. So they can't say, gee, it didn't come in on time. You know what they did in one of the states? Ballots were coming in late, very, very late. So they backdated the ballots. We have all the information. We have so much evidence. And then you go to a court. Oh, they don't have enough evidence. We have hundreds and even thousands of affidavits. And they say, he doesn't have the evidence. We have so much evidence, we don't know what to do with it. I'm saying, do we put all of this into a filing? It's like with wheelbarrows. If you aren't planning to vote by mail, vote early in person or vote on election day, whatever you do, I need each of you, every one of you, your friends, your family, to go and vote. And after we win, we need to pass landmark election reform, including voter ID. Is that so bad? Residents.
Yep. You know why? Because voter ID is shown to disenfranchise people. It's shown not to be something that's very useful. Hell, sorry, it's been shown to be something that is useful in dissuading black and brown people from voting in elections. It has been something that was specifically pushed by the American Legislative Executive Council, ALEC, the group of lobbying corporations that represent special interests like private prisons. Specifically, private prisons were behind the push for, voter ID laws, because it means that they could get more peaceful people into their for-profit prisons. This is and always has been a non-issue. Voter fraud in this country is not a significant issue, and anyone who's telling you it is trying to sell you something. Like, Donald Trump himself put together a commission with Mike Pence and Chris Kobach, who has been someone who's been talking about the issues of, the issue of voter fraud for fucking decades, and they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find enough evidence to back up a finding of widespread voter fraud, so they buried the results of the commission until there was a Freedom of Information Act request. There is no widespread voter fraud. Donald Trump knows this. Republicans know this. They're just pushing it because that is what the base believes is the issue, but that's not what actually is happening.
See, verification. Like, we live in the country, we live in the state. Citizenship confirmation. They want to say, oh, he doesn't have to be a citizen. You got to see what's voting. They're not citizens. You're a citizen? No, I'm not a citizen. You speak English? No English. Speak no English. Oh, you're voting. Yeah. What? This is the craziest thing.
You don't need to speak English to be able to vote. The United States has no official language. You can speak whatever the fuck you want here because this is the fucking United States of America. And last time I checked, it's the land of the free. Where we don't force you to learn any one language. Now, knowing English might make it more, easier for you to exist here, but there's no requirement that you have to speak English. That's ridiculous. This is a land of freedom.
You know, the Democrat National Committee had their convention, and they had a picture. You couldn't get in unless you had a picture. You had a photo ID. But when it comes to the most important thing, voting, they don't want to do it. And they know exactly.
Well, hey there, everybody. Hello. Dylan Burns TV, thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate it immensely. Dylan Burns, fellow member of the stream team The Future. Hello, welcome. Hello, Raiders. My name is Jack. I am a member of The Future, and I talk about socialism, and we talk about current events. Hello, Dro Stream. Hello. And generally, I talk about how to make the world a better place, how to make it less shit, and surprise, surprise, usually that's by talking about how great socialism is. Today we're going over like the last third of Donald Trump's rally in Georgia, and then we're going to hop over and take a look at the Georgia debates. It's true, I am from the future. I'm here to avert potential catastrophe. If socialism does not pass in the next 8 years, I will slowly disintegrate like Marty McFly at the end of Back to the Future. Also, hi. Also, I'm very close to hitting 1K followers on Twitch. I'd be really grateful if you all help me make it. You know. Why a riverboat needs a jacklift. Tabby Egg, thank you very much for the follow. Recovered former centrist, thank you very much for the follow as well. The Georgia debate was cringy. Yeah, but I haven't seen anything about the debates yet. So for me, it's like, you know, I need to know. I need to know how it's going down there. A ghost, thank you very much for the follow. Dro stream, thank you very much. I don't know what Dro means, but it sounds cool and I'm intrigued. I hope you're all having a fantastic evening. I'm sure you must be since you're coming from Dylan's stream. But yeah, let's finish this up. Also, if any of you want to call in and just like debate something or talk about a subject, we're doing some call-ins today. So if any of you feel inclined to talk about whatever, yeah, I'm more than happy to talk. I read a report something like 75% of the ballots requested for the November 3rd election were requested so far for the runoffs. Interesting. Dylan Burns, you wore cat ears? Did you also say nya? Did you say did you do any mewing? Did you do some oo-woos or oh-woes? Maid outfit for Thursday? Ooh, nice. Very nice. Low to NG, thank you very much for the follow. I'm sorry for butchering your name, probably. Yeah, Derby Yank, I saw that article. We'll be covering that in a bit. There's a lot to talk about today. So much news, so many politic to do. All right. Fortunate enough to catch Dylan sporting the maid outfit near the end of Sonsol's fundraising stream. Damn it. I left about 2 hours before it was done. I missed all of the maid outfits. I'm upset. I'm very excited to vote for radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Well, David Pavid, apparently Raphael Warnock is even farther left. According to this Georgia rally, Raphael Warnock is a radical communist. So yeah, I saw that, handsomest robot. I was on the stream, but it was like super late. I came in during the Among Us bit, and then I just stayed and talked about like trans issues for a while. Did I miss a femboy maid? You did.
Can't let that happen. I've only been doing this for a short time. Believe me, this is something we're going to do because we can't allow it to happen. And complete overhaul of our election security systems, because right now, Dominion is a joke.
Peppo happy, Mfinity. Peppo happy.
Joke. It's a disgrace that in 2020, no state in America even makes any real attempt to verify that those who cast ballots by mail are eligible and lawfully registered voters. The evidence of fraud is overwhelming, and again, I'm going to ask you to look up at that very, very powerful and very expensive screen. I do this for a few people. Let's go.
We certainly want transparency. What he saw is what we revealed to you last night on this program, what appears to be Atlanta, Georgia ballot counters being told to leave the counting room, then a short time later, with no observers, with no media, hidden cases of possible ballots are rolled out from under a table. 4 people, under a cloud of suspicion, begin what looks an awful lot like ballot stuffing.
Tabby Egg, thank you very much for the subscription. I appreciate that so goddamn much. Yeah, this is the Newsmax section of something that was already like debunked on Friday. I believe like the like Georgia's like head of election security went through and watched the entire thing. There's nothing suspicious about what's going on in that video. It's all been thoroughly debunked.
And the media did pack up and leave at 11:15, but there weren't observers there at that time, and there was no announcement made for anyone to leave.
Now, wait a second here. That is disheveled Fulton County Election Chief Richard Barron, but he doesn't have the facts right. The video proves it. At 10:40 p.m., not 11:15, 10:40, the media is packing up a half hour before he thinks they leave. You can see them putting on their jackets there. And by 10:56, they are long gone. And the Trump team has sworn witness testimony, claiming an announcement was most certainly made. In fact, even CNN reported the counting was being shut down due to a water main break that even election administrators now acknowledge was a leaky toilet. So someone had to tell those people to leave.
Relevant Millennial, thank you very much for gifting a 1-month Tier 1 sub to Sansol. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
And if you look at this table, there are ballots in boxes open and ready for counting. Now watch as they get packed up. Why would you need to secure them and then ultimately take out the mysterious ballots from under the table to start counting?
Doll Payment, thank you very much
Elections
for the
board
follow.
member Dr. Kathleen Ruth shows her skepticism in that Zoom call this morning with the elections chief.
It is interesting that these ballots were under a table versus being in the open.
Well, I think there's a...
Wait, was that it? Was that the entire quote from the video? Like, I do think it was very suspicious that they were on a table, they were under the table instead of on top of the table. That's very suspicious. It's very, you only put things under the table when you want to hide them. Putting them on top of the table is something that you only do when you're being honest and upstanding about counting votes. Indeed, woohoo, Lulu. Also, Tabby Egg, thank you very much for gifting out a Tier 1 community subscription. That's incredibly kind of you. Y'all have been really great tonight. Thank you.
I don't know that they're... I think those ballot boxes get heavy. I don't think they want to be lifting those things up and putting them back down.
It makes no sense. The guy's scratching his head. He just looks nervous. The guy does not inspire confidence. There were already ballots out, but even almost 24 hours since I posted what could be, quote, smoking gun video of election fraud. A video now with
Fuck. But it's not, though? All of the experts you have on are just saying, yes, this does look kind of weird, I guess. They put it under the table instead of on top of the table. This isn't smoking gun evidence.
2.5 million views as of right now on my Twitter feed. The head of elections, whose ballot counters are now being accused of ballot stuffing, declares this.
I'll have to review. I need to review the video. I have not seen the video.
Please do. Please do is right. He hasn't watched the video that could upend the presidential election, and the guy in charge of the very people in the room.
Imagine them playing just like a CNN clip at Joe
That's
Biden's
insanity.
rallies.
And yet, Fulton County still certified the election. But you know who did watch our video? Our viewers, Stinchfield Army. One directed me to this moment in the video. The woman in purple, after putting ballots in to be scanned, it appears to take the same batch of ballots out, straighten them, and then look what she does with them. She reinserts them back into the ballot counting machine again. The same set of ballots. Now, there may or may not be an explanation for this. But certainly needs to be investigated.
This is excruciatingly long. I have it sped up at 1.75 speed, and this section still seems like it's taking an eternity.
By law enforcement, as the greatest political heist in election history may have just been caught on camera.
Evidence of election fraud mounts as the mainstream media and Democrats loudly insist Joe Biden is still the 2020 winner. However, numerous whistleblowers are coming forward with credible information that hundreds of thousands of votes for President Trump mysteriously disappeared on election night. On Tuesday, Jesse Morgan, a worker for the U.S. Postal Service, revealed that his trailer full of ballots simply went missing after he...
Wait. What happened? Did they pack hundreds of thousands of illegal votes? Or did hundreds of thousands of Trump votes disappear? Or did both of those happen now? They need to keep their story straight.
Dropped them off. The worker drove his truck from Bethpage, New York, all the way to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and says he was carrying some 288,000 completed mail-in ballots. Phil Klein, the director of the legal group Thomas More Society Amistad Project, says they have many more testimonies from whistleblowers with similar stories. The project is working to discover flaws and even expose cases of voting fraud in the 2020 election, and has already uncovered serious examples of voting irregularities. Backing up President Trump's warnings, Klein explains that the post office was rife with fraud, and that many postal service workers were taking part in widespread illegal efforts to undermine the election. While the missing truck full of ballots is bad enough, other whistleblowers say they drove thousands of pre-filled ballots right over state lines, which is a federal crime. A subcontractor for the post office, Nathan Pease, said that he was told by 2 separate postal workers that the post office in Wisconsin had collected and backdated over 100,000 ballots on the morning after the election. Unsurprisingly, others also claimed the integrity of Dominion voting machines has been compromised and cannot be trusted. During a press conference in Arlington, Virginia on Tuesday, the project explained that election officials in blue jurisdictions have failed to maintain the ballot chain of custody, which leaves the door wide open for voting fraud.
Like
the project said it has photographic evidence of people improperly accessing voting machines and eyewitness accounts on how the seals on ballot hard drives were illegally tampered with and broken. Klein says that in total, there are over 300,000 fraudulent ballots in Arizona, 548,000 in Michigan, 204,000 in Georgia, and 121,000 in Pennsylvania.
Make it sound like an
Based on this evidence, the FBI has reportedly requested to look at the project's data on voting integrity and potential election fraud. Pearson Sharp, One America News.
Oh my gosh, it's done.
So, if you just take the crime of what those Democrat workers were doing, and by the way, there was no water main break. You know, they said there was no water main break. That's 10 times more than I need to win this state. 10 times more. It's 10 times, maybe more than that, but it's 10 times more because we lost by a very close number. The alleged Biden margin of victory in several states is entirely accounted for by extraordinarily large midnight vote dumps. You saw them with going up to the sky. All extremely
Oh yeah, this makes it much more watchable
Biden
when
would
you
get
speed it up.
10,000 votes and Trump would get 3 in a Trump area. Oh. For example, at 6:31 a.m. in Michigan, reported 141,238 votes for Joe Biden and 5,900 votes for Donald Trump.
Damn, maybe you shouldn't have.
96% for Biden, 4% for Trump, in an area where I should be doing quite well.
Maybe you shouldn't have told your supporters not to vote by mail.
Except for one. And they actually had more people. If you look at the ballots, they had ballots all over. They had more ballots than they had people voting. How do you do that? So they had people, and they're voting. And then, as you know, 2 of the canvassers were very brave. They didn't vote, and they got the hell knocked out of them from the standpoint of what they went through. They took all the cameras went off, and then they raised their hand, but then they couldn't sign it ultimately. But more ballots than they had voters. Now, how simple is that? A similar vote dump occurred in Wisconsin at 3:42 a.m. This is 3:42 in the morning. In fact, when I went to bed that night, everybody was calling, congratulations, you're up 600,000 votes in Pennsylvania. Across all of the key swing states, there were impossibly low rejection rates. You saw that. For mail-in ballots, drastically less than the historic norm. In Georgia, 0.5% of the mail-in ballots were rejected in 2020 compared to 5.77%. That's a difference of 11 times more. It's hundreds of thousands of votes. In Pennsylvania, 0.03% were...
Because they didn't want to disenfranchise people. Even with voter signature verification, they damn it. Even with voter signature verification, like for every one illegal vote, you disenfranchise 32 legal voters.
And that's the smallest of the issues. Whistleblowers in multiple states have testified to witnessing postal workers and election workers illegally backdating thousands and thousands of ballots, fixing ballots, filling out false birthdays, registering ineligible voters, and much, much more. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of votes in each state. In Arizona, a sample of 100 ballots reviewed by a judge found that a very small percentage of these ballots, very small, but when you look at it, it turned out to be very large. It was tens of thousands of votes, more than we would have needed to win Arizona. We should have won that state very easily.
One judge reviewed 100 ballots and said that hundreds of thousands of them were illegal? What? What? That doesn't make sense. You know, it's shocking how normal the president sounds with his speech sped up. I know, right? I listened to Hassan listen to the whole rally yesterday. It was barely tolerable. Motherfucker rambled on endlessly and the crowd cried at his feet. Yeah, I mean, like, guys, never forget, like, for as funny and for as fucked up as all of this is, never forget that this is, like, this is what fascism looks like. He boasts about, like, his military. He talks about how he should have sent the military into cities across the United States. He talks about, like, you know, how we need to make America great again, and how great it is to make America #1. He talks about, like, his willingness to use force. He makes ambiguous calls to action that can either be interpreted as, you know, you need to go out and vote, or it can be interpreted as you need to go and hunt some Democrats. These are things that, like, he has gone from, like, deniable fascist, which maybe you could argue he was in, like, 2016, to just being an outright fascist. Like, this is how an outright fascist acts, and we shouldn't be surprised at what comes out of his mouth at this point.
Type of governor, I think, but I'll let you know that in about a week. In one Michigan county, and by the way, when Laura Ingraham interviewed your governor, He said he was an offensive lineman. I said, that's strange. He doesn't look like an offensive lineman to me. In one Michigan county using Dominion voting systems, nearly 6,000 votes were discovered that were wrongly switched from Trump to Biden. They called it a glitch. You know what glitch is?
Also, remember, this is supposed to be a rally for the Senate runoff election. He's spent most of the rally just talking about how he's been robbed of the election, but actually they won, but also the Democrats cheat, but also he won, but also it is an absolute shit show.
It's like the machine broke. Numerous times we found glitches, and every single time the glitch went 100% to Biden and no percent to Trump. The same systems are used in 30 states. The left lies, they cheat, and they steal. They are ruthless, and they're hell-bent on getting power and control by any means necessary. They investigate you, and they prosecute you. The moment you question them, they try and intimidate you. They call you a poor American. You're not a good American. You don't love our country. They don't love our country. They beat you down, shut you up, and make you retreat.
I mean, cake please, like, that's the whole thing. Like, Democrats somehow rigged all of these elections, but they rigged it so poorly that they lost seats in the House and also didn't clearly win the Senate. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's what they've done to your governor. They've done that to your governor. Your governor should be ashamed of himself. That's what they want to do right here in Georgia. They want you to be quiet. They want you to go away, but we don't go away. We don't go away.
No, you don't.
It's the biggest open secret in America that Democrats cheat in elections. This year, by sending out 65 million mail-in ballots, they perpetrated the...
Damn, it's the biggest open secret in America? Then how come you and your team couldn't find any 2 years ago? So weird how suddenly it's the biggest open secret in America, and yet, much like before, you now can't find any evidence. Very weird.
The largest fraud in the history of our country. Democrat officials and politicians in every swing state systematically weakened every measure to combat election fraud. They ensured that there were no identity checks, no signature checks. I want to check a signature, please. I'm sorry, we don't let you do that. No eligibility checks, no nothing. Every single one of you know that if these ballots are properly audited, if the signatures and envelopes were examined, if the envelopes were correlated to the votes, because you'll find there are far more ballots than there are envelopes. All you have to do is count them up. How many ballots do you have? How many envelopes do you have? And if the voter rolls are studied, in other words, studied to check the signature.
Wait, why would they not have the same... Wait, what? Is he saying that their voter fraud cheating scheme wouldn't have included, like, the envelopes for the ballots? That's really strange, but okay.
Miss Smith, oh, it's a totally different signature from 2 years ago, from 6 years ago, from 10 years ago. What's that all about? We will find that hundreds of thousands of ballots were illegally cast in your state, and all over the country, by the way. More than enough to give us a total historic victory. This is our country.
All you have to do to share a link is please send a message, a whisper to one of the mods, and they can post it for you.
And you know this, and you see it, but they're trying to take it from us through rigging, fraud, deception, and deceit. That's what we saw in the election. That's what's going on, and it's happening right now in our country, and we will do something about it, and we're going to do something about it quickly, and we're going to be watching on January 5th. We're going to be watching every element of what they do, this fraud that they perpetrated in our country. We're going to be watching it more closely than any election has ever been watched. Hopefully our legislatures and the United States Supreme Court will step forward and save our country. I used to say, without borders, we don't have a country. I can say also, without an honest voting system, without an electoral process that works and that's honest and fair, we don't have a country either. We need to check every single signature in the presidential and senatorial elections. And right now, we have to get out to vote for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler to show the radical left that we will never surrender.
I think it has literally been about 20 or 30 minutes since he mentioned them. Yeah, it's been about 30 minutes since he mentioned these two by name.
Surrender, we will only win. We're going to win. We always win. Somehow we find a way to win. Now is not the time to retreat. Now is the time to fight harder than ever before. So don't listen to my friends. Just go out. Just go out. And you know what they're saying? They're saying, we want you to fix the system. We're going to fix the system. But the system will be fixed when these people get in. They'll get in. And we'll...
Unfortunately, I don't think I can play that Vosh clip because Vosh is persona non grata on Twitch. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to play that content.
Fix the system. Because we're all victims. Everybody here, all these thousands of people here tonight, they're all victims, every one of you. The next great victory for our movement begins right here on January 5th, and then we are going to win back the White House. We're going to win it back. And we're going to take back the House in 2022. And then in 2024, and hopefully I won't have to be a candidate, we're going to win back the White House again. A friend of mine said, oh, don't worry about it, sir. You're way up in the polls. You'll win in 2024. I said, I don't want to wait till 2024. I want to go back 3 weeks. We're thrilled to be joined tonight by some real friends of all of ours, Representatives Doug Collins. It was fantastic. And by the way, I got to tell you, as you know, he and Kelly had a great primary, a very strong primary. They both did fantastically well, and he is on board, and he is one of the greatest advocates I've ever met in Washington. I want to thank Doug Collins. There's Doug. Thank you, Doug. What a job he does. Thank you. Doug, you want to run for governor in 2 years, buddy? Yeah, good-looking governor. A friend of mine, one of the toughest guys you'll ever see, Louis Gohmert of Texas. Louis. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Louis. And a young up-and-comer who's taken Washington by storm, Dan Crenshaw. Where's Dan? Where's Dan? Where's Dan? I didn't see you, Dan. The first time that's ever happened to me, huh? Because you do stand out in many ways. Thank you very much, Dan. The next senator from Tennessee just got elected. Did my endorsement help? Huh? Better believe it. We love Tennessee. Bill Hagerty. He's going to be a great senator. He's going to be a great senator for a long time. Your former...
Yeah, exactly, Mudar Blind. Like, we all know what you mean by Dan Crenshaw standing out. It's because he has an eye patch. We all know.
Year governor. He only left because of a thing called term limits. If I would have known, I would have tried to end those term limits. But he went to the Department of Agriculture as his head. He's done a tremendous job. And, you know, we've handed out $28 billion to farmers. $28 billion. I said, how badly have we been targeted by China? And Sonny Perdue said, over a 2-year period, sir, $28 billion. That's when I put the tariffs on China, took the money, and gave it out to the farmers. And we had a lot of money left over, and we put that into the U.S. Treasury. Right, Sonny? And you've done a fantastic job. He knows more about farms than any human being. State representative, a friend of mine, a great gentleman. He saw what was happening. He happens to be a Democrat, but we love him. I'm trying to talk him into joining our party. Vernon Jones.
Is he just... Is it done?
Thank you, Vernon.
Does he actually talk about anything else?
Closely with RNC chairwoman, this is how we going for decades. Our politicians spent trillions and trillions of dollars rebuilding other foreign nations, fighting foreign wars, and defending foreign borders. We want to defend our border, if it's okay. And we're now finally protecting our nation, rebuilding our cities, and we are bringing our jobs, our factories, and our troops back home to the USA where they belong. Thank you.
Indeed, Tommy Real Pro.
Not easy to bring them home. I bring them home and they say, well, sir, we got to keep them there, sir. We got to keep spending money. We've got to keep giving money to these countries that can't stand us, that nobody ever heard of. And everything we do, we are putting America first. We ended the war on American energy. And the United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere on Earth. We achieved the most secure border in U.S. history, and we built our wall, as I said. Very important for you because you're a big military between the equipment we build and VA choice and VA accountability, right? You ever notice the vets? You used to always have on television, you'd have the fake news. There'd always be, well, in that case, it wasn't fake, but for years, you'd always see vets how badly treated they were, how badly treated. I shouldn't say this because you'll find one somewhere in the country, but you don't see that. You don't see that anymore. You don't see the stories on the evening news about vets that are being treated horribly.
Yeah. We do right by all our veterans now. Pretty sure if you ask my community, which is made up of like half veterans, they won't tell you that veteran care is the highest quality. Maybe a solution to that would be decommodifying healthcare and giving everyone the same kind of healthcare. That way the rich also have an investment in the quality of the healthcare of this country. Yeah, I think this would generally be a good thing. Also, Relevant Millennial, thank you very much for the 100 bits. I appreciate it so very goddamn much.
Accountability was a big factor. We fired 9,000 horrible people that took advantage of our vets, and they're gone. And now if our vets don't get good service, they go out, they see a doctor, we pay the bill, they get better, they don't wait in line for weeks and months. We destroyed 100% of the ISIS caliphate in Iraq and Syria. We killed the leader of ISIS, al-Baghdadi, and we eliminated the world's top terrorist. Soleimani is dead. I withdrew from the last administration's disastrous Iran nuclear deal, and I think they want to start it up again. Can you believe this? I wonder if they'll give them $150 billion. But no, they'll give them $250. They were ready to rock. They were ready to do whatever we wanted. Now they're salivating. I recognize the true capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem.
Just to point this out for you guys. Hey, look at the real world capabilities of ISIS. The threat continues. Politics are politics, but there are serious dangers in making claims about the ability to defeat terrorism in general and ISIS in particular. Yeah, tactical successes against terrorist movements do not defeat terrorism. Weird. I'll link that in chat so you guys can look it over and make sure I'm not using bunk data. Riot Girl Callie, how are you doing? I hope you're feeling okay. Yeah, it really does depend where you are.
And also recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Instead of endless war, we are
recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, a place they have no legal right to have sovereignty over. And doing so is something that breaks international law and brings international condemnation because it's stealing territory from Palestine.
Forging peace all over the world. And you know, we have the greatest military ever. We have the greatest equipment, all made in the USA. A lot of it made in Georgia. But you know what? I'm the only one in many, many decades that hasn't started a war. Everyone thought that with my personality, I'd be in war the first week. They were all saying war. And we developed relationships. Let's see.
Well, you did bring us to the brink of war with North Korea, with Iran, multiple times, with, I believe with Syria. You've participated in the bombing of Yemen. You've, we've had troops dying all across Africa because of our colonial institutions. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, whatever. It's fine, whatever.
See how he would do with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I don't think too well. But whatever happened to that? Remember, I came in, it was going to be war with North Korea. It was going to be war with everybody. No, we built the greatest military in the world, and the better it is, the less likely it is that we're going to have to use it. But everything that we've achieved together is on the line on June 5th. In this election, you can send a message to the fake news media, and there's a lot of them right back there. And they'll find something wrong with this evening. I don't know what it is, but they'll find something wrong. Maybe it was the person that shouted love. They'll say it was a horrible protester. They'll find something, Kelly and David. They're going to find something they're looking at having a hard time. It's been a love fest. This is a love fest for these two people. But they all want the Silicon Valley censors and the corrupt Democrat political machine. They're partners. You must vote for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. Go out and vote. With your help, we are going to continue our mission to save America. We will defend the right to life, religious liberty, free speech, and the right to keep and bear arms. They're going to take your guns away. We will always support
I don't understand where they get this talking point repeatedly. I don't think I've seen any Democrat run on a policy of taking people's guns away. Am I just not seeing it? Am I blinded by my political ignorance? Can any conservatives in the chat send like a link to one of my mods of like Democrats having a policy of wanting to take your guns? Because I don't think this is a thing that generally happens. Yeah, Beto wanted a buyback program. I agree. I think a buyback program would be great. But having a buyback program is not sending armed officials to confiscate your guns. This is very different.
The heroes of law enforcement, we will maintain America's unrivaled military might, and we will preserve peace through strength. We will protect Social Security and Medicare, and we will always protect patients with pre-existing conditions.
I mean, back in the 80s they did, yeah.
We will stop the radical indoctrination of our students and children and restore patriotic education to our schools.
Boo.
We will teach our children to love our country, honor our history, and always respect our great American flag.
Yeah, we'll indoctrinate our children. Also, I don't poop, and also I was technically elected president for life. We will teach children all of these things in our schools. Fucking fascist.
And we will live by the words of our national motto, in God we trust. From Atlanta to Augusta, from Savannah to Columbus, and from Athens to right here. Right here, this is a nice place. This is a nice place. Valdosta. We inherit the legacy of generations of American patriots who gave their blood, sweat, and tears to defend our country and our freedom. We stand on the shoulders of American heroes who crossed the oceans, settled the continent, tamed the wilderness, laid down the railroads, raised up the great skyscrapers, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and made America into the single greatest nation
committed
in
genocide.
the history of the world. And if they get in and add me into the group, if you don't mind,
terrorists,
we will be greater than ever before.
Overthrew democratically elected governments.
The best is yet to come. Proud citizens like you help build this country, and together we are taking back our country. Our fight to drain the Washington swamp and reclaim America's destiny has just begun. We will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield. We will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never back down. We will never, ever surrender. Because we are Americans, and our hearts bleed red, white, and blue.
Man, I don't know what we do with these people behind him here. Like, I don't know how they are going to be able to understand
we
that
are one
he
movement,
lost.
one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together with the incredible people of Georgia,
exactly,
we have made America powerful again. They've done it. We have made America wealthy again. We have made America strong again. We have made America proud again. We have made America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Georgia. Get out and vote. Get out and vote.